Welcome back to the Name Redacted podcast, America's most beloved podcast, the most downloaded Red Sox podcast in the world. Coming off a series victory against the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, there's a path, Jake. There's a path. There's a decent amount of season left. And I know that you haven't given up on this team. Tyler, I don't know where you're at, but I'm still dreaming of October over here. I still have postseason hopes. The Red Sox got their asses kicked on Sunday, but you know what? After they got their asses kicked, they blew up the bullpen. They designate Big Fudge for assignment. They designate Sawamura for assignment. They're revamping the bullpen. What is that face, Tyler?
Nothing. I respect your dreaming that you are still that positive during these times.
Mm-hmm. I am positive. It's hard not to be when you watch this team play baseball. You know, they go out there and, it's one of those things. Where the Boston, why are you look very distracted right now, Tyler?
I am. Okay. Did you just say Sawamura got DFA'd?
Is that not out there?
That was not out there.
Oh.
You just sent me into an absolute spiral when you said that. I'm like, did I miss something? Like, I was just tweeting about Austin Davis. Oh, so is this a Jared Carrabis report here?
Just a guess.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a guess.
And you just nailed it. 7 seconds from Pete Abraham. He just tweeted it out. Good timing, Jared. Good timing.
This is a good guess.
Wow, really good guess.
Wow.
It's about damn time, man. Seriously, this is something we've been waiting for a long time. And yeah. I understand you wanted to color it whatever way you did after the trade deadline and say, we're going to compete and we're going to try to figure it out from there. It's just how many more times were you going to run some of these guys? Was Sawamura number one on my chopping board at the moment? No. Austin Davis and Ryan Brazier are really the top two. Because you look at Austin Davis, I don't know what happened to him, man. It's crazy. Like, we talked about Austin Davis. We were an Austin Davis podcast, I think some would say.
Yeah, sure.
Very, above average pitcher, below 3 ERA coming into July 7th. 10.71 ERA after that, 2.10 whip. That's Pat Light territory.
I hope, even though this podcast didn't come out yet, technically, I hope that everyone credits this podcast for breaking Sawamura, because we did have it first.
I promise you, as someone who is just staring at Twitter, you definitely had it first. There is no doubt about that. Wow. And Sawamura, as much shit as I gave him at the beginning of the year, he hasn't been horrendous this year. It's a 3.73 ERA, but his home road splits were horrendous. On the road, it was a 0.84 ERA. At home, it was 5.83.
I mean, they just got to blow it up. Like, there's a lot of dead weight in that bullpen. They obviously need bodies to fill these roles that they're just DFAing guys left and right now. But yeah, it's a step in the right direction. And I think even though the Red Sox won the series, and I do want to talk about Rich Hill's performance, I want to talk about some of the games that happened over the weekend with Tampa. But I think where I want to start, who wrote in the Boston Globe, who had that piece about like Cora being on the hot seat and like the Red Sox having to pick between Cora or Chaim Bloom? Who wrote that?
So that was in a column Pete Abraham put up. I don't remember the exact title, but it was like manager.
That fucking loser.
Exactly. So he called it like the manager.
He wrote that?
Yep. It was called like the manager roundup, basically. And he went like down guys who were on the hot seat. And his whole thing on the Red Sox and Cora was, basically by the end of the year, something's going to have to give to one side or the other.
Let me tell you this, Tyler, and I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. The day that Alex Cora is no longer the manager of the Boston Red Sox, it's because he chose to not be the manager of the Boston Red Sox. Let me repeat that. The day that Alex Cora is not managing the Boston Red Sox anymore is because he informed the team that he no longer wants to do that. That's when that will happen.
Oh.
So any talk of hot seat or firing the manager, it's just nonsense. That's trying to create buzz, sell newspapers during a time where people don't really give a shit about Red Sox baseball right now. He is in absolutely no danger of losing his job. And that is a fact. That is not an opinion.
And it's been, if you look, there's a certain side of the beat we know that has not loved the Chaim Bloom era and has been very anti-Bloom since the start. Anything that is analytics thinking or forward thinking. There's a couple guys, there's no need to name them, but that continue to float that there's a rift between Cora and Chaim Bloom, when in all reality, each time everyone has spoke about it has been the complete opposite. Whether you want to talk about Sam Kennedy about a month and a half ago, just going off, I believe, while talking to EEI, saying he thought their relationship was only getting stronger and he viewed it as one of the best he's ever seen since he's been in the Red Sox organization between, a manager and the leader of a front office. Chaim talking about it in his sit down with Tom Caron recently and how him and Cora really are on the same page. And while they do see things different from time to time, he values that. And that's really important to him. So I don't know. I think people who are trying to grab at straws or whatever it may be like that, they're just trying to stir up drama. But I think for people who are paying attention, it's pretty clear here that the Chaim Bloom, Alex Cora, process here was never seen as something that was going to fade quickly. I think it was something they were going to give time and they believed this duo was capable of something special. And I think with Alex Cora, even beyond that, that relationship goes all the way to ownership. And we know that ownership put their foot down more than anyone. Not saying they chose Alex Cora over Chaim Bloom, but they were pushing for Alex Cora from day one. They knew when they let him go, there was a hope that he was going to be back. And Alex Cora said it himself. He really never seriously considered anything else that wasn't Boston. And I think if we don't, if Alex Cora walks, he's told you he doesn't think he's going to manage forever. It'll be to walk away as a manager and maybe try something else in baseball.
Yeah, I think he's a future executive. I really do. Hopefully it's here in some capacity, but I think that the perfect scenario someday is that Alex Cora graduates from managing the team to some sort of front office role, which I totally see happening. He's a great evaluator of talent. And he's a great ambassador for this organization. So what I kind of, the scuttlebutt, if there's anyone upset with anyone, is that the ownership group not being super thrilled with Chaim Bloom's performance this year. That would be the rumors that have made their way back to me from not just one person. That's kind of I don't want to say general consensus because then it sounds like it's coming from all over the place. It's been a few people that are ownership's not super pumped about where the team's at, the payroll and the luxury tax.
I'm not going to say it.
You're not going to say it.
I promise I won't say it.
Okay. But that's the word on the street.
Oh, so let me bring it one step further, Jared. Now, you just said that Alex Cora does not have to worry about his job being moved. Mm-hmm. Would you say that Chaim Bloom has any close to that certainty, at least moving into next year?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I was shocked to learn that. So here's the thing. I don't think that Chaim Bloom is going to lose his job before opening day, but it is his employment does not feel guaranteed on opening day. He has to crush this offseason, I feel like. I think that it would be super premature for the Red Sox to let go of Bloom after the season concludes. I think that would be a little reactionary.
Well, there's no way they'd let him go through this offseason if they didn't believe he was going to be the guy moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that they're at the point where they don't know. I think that they're wait a second. I think that there's some of that going on, which again, all this was surprising to hear, I guess. I mean, obviously the fan base is not happy right now. I think the fans are not happy. The players are not happy. Obviously ownership's not happy. You're over the luxury tax. You're spending a lot of money on the team and the results are that you're in last place. So yeah, I would be very surprised if he were dismissed after the season, but it kind of sounds like he's got to crush this offseason. Yeah. Like, it sounds like you're under the gun. Like, go fucking, I'm not saying like build a World Series contender and one winner, but I think the overall consensus has to be somewhere in the neighborhood of the Red Sox won the offseason. Like, the Red Sox fucking did something or some things, plural, that got them from where they were this year to, all right, like, let's fucking reload up and get back out there and see what we got next year, because we're pretty excited about the roster that we put together. Like, that's, I feel like that's kind of the position that we're in going into this offseason.
That's scary. Like, I agree with you. Like, I would see it. I do think this is, and we've talked about the comparison. This is 2014 going into 2015. Like, if you had a disaster year this year where everything went wrong, going into 2015, if you can't get the train back on the tracks, you could see Bloom out middle of the year, couple months into the year, whatever it may be, like Cherington was for Dombrowski. Not obviously wouldn't be Dombrowski, but whoever the other voice or next person would be to step in.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, again, I would be shocked if they were like, oh, season's over. All right, Bloom's out. I don't think that that's coming.
But the seat's warm. It is heating up.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think that that's the case. It's coming from
how fresh is
different angles.
Yeah, how fresh is this to you, Jared? Like, how
in between episodes?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in between episodes. So yeah, I
that's some major news.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that it's one of those things where, like, I wouldn't put it on Twitter and be like, sources, like, Chaim Bloom is on the hot seat and the Red Sox are going to fire him if they don't have a convincingly, overwhelmingly incredible offseason. It's more just like, that's the word on the street right now, is that this offseason's it's got to be a W for the Red Sox. Like, the letter grade has to be B+ or higher, it feels like.
And I think that is surprising to certain members, or really portions, because if you check the Bluminati in that portion of Twitter, obviously I have not echoed a lot of this stuff, but they don't think Chaim Bloom's anywhere near trouble or something being viewed, his job, that seat getting warm, however you want to frame it. This is telling you, this is the chatter. This is what people are saying. And as we saw, I think when stories start to leak out, that's when something's going on. And as we saw,
I think that stupid fucking piece that Pete Abe wrote, that fucking idiot, he's just reaching. Like, no one talks to him. He's a fucking loser. Like, no one talks to him. So that's more along like, oh, well, like the Red Sox ownership, like, we know them. Like, after they finish in last place, they either spend a bunch of money or they start firing people and blah, 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 blah. Like, keep Alex Cora's name out your mouth, fatty. All right?
Goddamn.
Alex Cora. Yeah, no, fuck him.
Do Of course, yes. I saw it way back in the day.
Yeah, he can get fucked and stay fucked. But
hey, look where you stand now.
Yeah.
Hate to say it.
Yeah. Scoreboard. I think that it's going to be an interesting, but that's not to say like that Bloom is not capable of having an A+ offseason.
He's already done that. Like, we've seen what an A offseason is from Chaim Bloom. Like, that's what 2020 going into 2021 was, where he hit on almost every move. And listen, are you going to hit on every single move? People go, well, what about Garrett Richards and Martin Perez? Of course, you're going to have misses, whatever it may be. Nobody's going to nail every single player they sign. But when you take a team that had the fourth worst record in baseball and got them within 2 games of the World Series, that speaks for itself. I think what we saw this year was the tearing down of some of that, like we spoke about with Hunter Renfroe. Now going into this year, like you said, I don't think you have to expect the World Series or whatever it may be, but you need to sit there and not be looking up at the Orioles, the Blue Jays, Yankees, and Rays and saying, how the hell are we going to compete with them in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah. Like, you're the fucking Red Sox.
You got to act like
it. I get it. Like, the Baltimore Orioles, all respect in the world to the Baltimore Orioles. They've built an incredible farm system. They have major league ready talent that's already on the roster. They sold off some pieces at the deadline and then got better. They have the best record in the league since the trade deadline. They fucking traded Trey Mancini. Like, they're just like, they traded their fucking closer. We never even had one. They fucking traded their closer and then went on to have the best record in the league since then. So, yeah, like, of course, the Orioles have built something that looks like it's going to be somewhat sustainable and they're going to be good, which is great for baseball. But if you're the Red Sox, you're looking at that being like, well, we can build something similar to that. And also, we don't have to wait as long because while we are building up this farm system, we can supplement that with major league talent via free agency, or you have pieces that you can trade because there are guys that are blocked at the big league level because of certain positions. That fucking tweet by Buster Olney the other day where he's like, yeah, there's only like 2 guys signed after 2023. That's not even true. So, yeah, I think that's why I want to have Chaim on the podcast after the season. Like, let the dust settle. And then let's talk about what the plan is. Because I think if a lot of people are asking that question, what's the fucking plan? Then it's not like if you're a Red Sox fan and you were to tweet something like that, like, I love the Red Sox, but I don't know where we go from here. There's no one tweeting that person being like, you fucking idiot. Like, this is what they're going to do. They're going to do this, this, and this, of course. And bing, bang, boom. And you're ever get that. Like, no one's saying that. And obviously, if you sit down with Chaim, you're not going to be like, all right, well, what's the plan? He's going to be like, all right, well, we're going to trade this prospect. And
he's not going to Dave Dombrowski it.
No. But I think he has a very, he has a way that he answers questions without giving you full details. Like, he's never going to just be like, yeah, we're targeting this pitcher and, we've got these prospects that we think are movable.
He's like a nice Bill Belichick. Like, he's not going to make you sit there and feel stupid or like embarrass you in front of the rest of the media, but he's just going to talk in circles and tell you absolutely nothing. And you're going to feel like you wasted, 20 minutes.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I just, I think that it's going to be, I'm reluctant to use the word eventful because eventful implies that the Red Sox are going to make a flurry of moves. And I don't know that I feel even confident in that.
But if you're not confident in a flurry of moves, then it's hard to envision Chaim Bloom still having a job here 12 months from now, or, 15 months from now, however you want to frame it. Like, sure. Just with the whole, we're talking, Xander Bogaerts, you have an outfield next year. It's Alex Verdugo. That's it. First base, depending on what you do with Tristan Casas, like, we'll see. If he doesn't come up this year, can you really just start him next year and hope he's ready to go on opening day? That doesn't seem very Chaim Bloom or Red Sox like. You have an opening at catcher. We've talked about the rotation, the bullpen, God help you. Now they're finally funneling some of those AAA arms. Thank God. But it's going to take a flurry of moves for them to even have a roster that's complete. And
so let me ask you this. Since that's just, the word on the street. Chaim Bloom's going to nail it this offseason. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah. Listen, you've had one excellent year in 2021 where I'd give you an A. I'd give you this year, it's close to a D. Some could argue an F. That puts you right in that C kind of range. Depending on which way the scale falls next year, if it goes great, awesome. You're leaning into that BA range. If it goes bad, it's failing. And at that point, where the Red Sox are, depending if you let Xander Bogaerts walk, it's hard to look at the rest of the division and say, all right, we're going to trust someone. If you finish in last place back-to-back years, how do you expect anything significant to change? There'll be a talent evaluation problem going on. And I think there's been multiple times throughout this entire year where you can credit that. I think even, going to today, Austin Davis getting DFA'd. That's a trade you made a year ago, someone who had a really strong start to the year, but absolutely fell off. Hansel Robles got DFA'd this year. Matt Barnes is finally back to what he was, but you depended on that guy. You thought that guy was... Think about
all the guys that are gone that were brought in at one point, like either DFA'd or released, like Jackie Bradley Jr. is part of the Hunter Renfroe trade. And Austin Davis is part of the Michael Chavis trade. I mean, Garrett Richards is no longer here. Martin Perez is no longer here.
One of the guys you did hit on in really the biggest way, Hunter Renfroe, is no longer here.
Yeah.
Kyle Schwarber, a guy who fit awesome here, you didn't end up paying him. And now you have a hole at DH moving forward.
Yeah.
Like those are
JD's back though, by the way.
Nice to see him homer today. You know what I mean? It is refreshing to see him homer. I'm not going to go crazy or anything like that. But solid series for him. Something we hadn't seen. It was 129 at bats since his last homer, 34 games. Nice. Is it too little too late? Most likely. But thank you for showing up, JD. I do appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, he had some doubles. I mean, he was driving in runs. Like, yeah. I hope JD finds a nice home next year.
Me too.
I'm going to be sad to see him go.
I hope people...
I mean, who's to say that the Red Sox don't just like fucking give him the qualifying offer and he takes it, or give him like a 1-year deal and I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to like say goodbye to him just yet, but it would seem as though, you know, when he went to them at the beginning of the year and was like, hey, like, I'd love to get 2 years and retire here. And the Red Sox were like, that's nice. They didn't do anything about it. Seems like it was the right move given the drop off in power in the second half that he's had since the All-Star break, whatever. But I don't think that it's completely like open and shut case that he's not here next year.
I think it's unlikely, I'd call it.
I would say that it's unlikely, but I don't think it's impossible.
I just have a hard time justifying the hitter he is at this point, making close to $20 million. That's a hard sell for me. I feel like that's a bad use of funds for a roster that needs a lot of holes, or needs a lot of holes filled. And I like JD Martinez, don't get me wrong, but 9 homers even going to the All-Star break wasn't enough. It wasn't. He's been a major part of the power outage for them, and really just the middle of the months where the season or where the team needed some carrying. And he was a great part of that in the beginning of the year. He just disappeared on you. And it's the second year in a row he's kind of disappeared on you in the middle of the year. And he has no problem admitting that. And I got love for JD. It's one of the greatest contracts in Red Sox history. But do I think we're ever going to see a JD Martinez that you want hitting every day in the middle of the lineup again? I don't think so. I think that's just the reality of the situation.
That's fair.
And listen,
that's fair.
I was hoping he'd go to a team like the Dodgers. Maybe someone can kind of revive him. Maybe just getting out of here kind of resets things. Because he's a guy who seems in his head a lot, not in a bad way, but he thinks heavily about his mechanics. No one's grinding harder than him in the cages. Maybe a fresh start would get him back to where he needs to be, because really for 3 years, it's been there's been highs, but there's been plenty of downs as well.
Yeah. Yep. Anyways, the wait is almost over. A new football season is about to begin. Get ready for the NFL Week 1 action with the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. To celebrate the return of football, DraftKings is giving new customers a can't-miss offer. Bet just $5 on any football game and get $200 in free bets instantly. If you want more action for opening night, everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. Get up to 7 and you win. Bet on any NFL team of your choice. And if your team leads by 7 points at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. What a deal. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. All you got to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code Jared to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That is promo code Jared, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details. So I have a funny story.
What happened?
So Friday, the Red Sox open up their series against the Tampa Bay Rays. And I get there. They let the media in at 3. So I get there. There's no one on the field. No one's taking BP. And there's no one in the dugout. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And I was like, the weather. It's about to rain. And I look at my weather app. It's like, it's about to rain a lot, it looks like. So I seek shelter in the Red Sox dugout. I'm just sitting there, mind my own business, by myself. And it starts to rain. And then Tommy Pham walks up the stairs and comes into the dugout and just sits down next to me. And he's on his phone. And he's he's looking at his fantasy football lineup.
Oh, God.
And in my head, I'm like, don't ask him about fantasy football. Do not ask him about fantasy football. So then I'm sitting there and rain comes down harder and harder. And I'm like, Is that your fantasy football
Oh
team?
my God, Jared, Jesus Christ. You're like a 5-year-old. Don't say it. You couldn't contain it?
So then it starts thundering, and then it starts lightning. There's fucking lightning bolts all over the place. The loudest thunder that I've ever heard. And it's going on for an hour and a half. Like in my mind, like he played baseball in Tampa. So like he's used to like thunderstorms like this. In my mind, this is like a top 3 thunderstorm I've ever experienced in my entire life. Like it looked like a fucking hurricane was about to roll through Fenway. So I'm sitting there and we start talking about fantasy football. And I was like, so what was the deal with that?
Oh my.
So he's like, all right.
Was there
What?
there any aggression? Did you feel like when you brought it up, there was like why the fuck is he bringing this shit up?
We're like boys. No, like the first day that he was a Red Sox at Fenway, Plawecki introduced us, and then he followed me on Twitter after. And every time that I've seen him at Fenway, he like comes over, like daps me up, and we're cool. So I mean, like he could have popped up into the dugout and been like, "Oh, only Jared's here." Like I'm going back down, but he came up and sat down, and he's just chilling. So I was like, "All right, yeah, me and Tommy Pham are boys now." So the subject of the fantasy football league comes up, and it's one of those, like when I used to do the Sirius XM radio show with KFC, I used to tell stories that happened in my life. And immediately there would be Reddit threads and people tweeting at me being like, oh, Jared's just making up some shit again. Like there's no way that happened. And this feels like one of those stories because like the Tommy Pham like fantasy football story is like now it's one of the most infamous happenings in baseball history. So now I'm hearing it firsthand from the guy, from Tommy. And the crazy element of this is that as he's telling me the story of the fantasy football league, it's like a fucking Disney movie where like the skies darken and it's like boom, 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 boom.
I would have been shitting
and
bricks.
Fucking lightning is striking all over the place and like the loudest thunderclaps that you've ever heard as Tommy Pham is telling me the story from his point of view of the fantasy football league that led to all the drama this season. It was fucking bonkers. Like the story itself wasn't bonkers, but the set of circumstances around it was insane. Like in the middle, and he did not flinch. Like when I tell you that these are some of the loudest thunderclaps I've ever heard in my entire life, and like lightning looks like it's fucking striking Fenway Park, he never blinked. So like I'm looking at him to show him the respect of like, I'm looking at you in the eye while you're telling me this story. Well, meanwhile, to my right, fucking the largest hurricane type thunderstorm is going on over here. And he did not fucking miss a beat with this story. Like he did not stop telling the story. And like, no matter how loud it was, he wasn't like, oh shit. Anyway, so like there were like the thunder was so loud that there were parts of the story that I couldn't hear what he was saying. And he was directly in front of me and he still never stopped from the thunderstorm. So it's crazy. One of the craziest things that's ever happened in my life.
During this entire conversation, nobody else enters the dugout. It is solely just you two.
One other person entered the dugout and it was just one of the clubbies. That was it.
Holy shit.
So it was me and Tommy. It was me, Tommy, and the clubby. That was it. Yeah.
So did you, when you heard the story from him?
Team Tommy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bullshit. Yeah. Like, long story short, like I won't like bore people with the details because it's not like that. Like, I mean, it's not like that. I don't want to say not interesting, but like, it's not like that. Like, holy shit, I can't believe it. But it was more along the lines of like, they had a set of rules at the beginning of the year and he drafted his team based on the rules. And then he was kicking everyone's ass because he drafted his team based on what the rules were. And then everyone was like, how is his team so good? And then they started doing research on the rules of other leagues. And we're like, oh, we have to adjust our rules. And then he was like, well, like I drafted my team for this set of rules. So like, if we're going to change the rules, then like, let's do a redraft. And then they were like, no. So they changed the rules so that his team wasn't based on the original rules. Like it was, yeah, I'd slap somebody over that. That's bullshit.
So you're telling me if Jock Peterson walked up to you right now, you'd smack him for Tommy Pham?
I don't know that I mean, like if Tommy was there, yes. But I don't think I would just walk up to him like at a restaurant. But if Tommy was like, hey, this guy, we need to double down on that slap, I'd be like, say less.
Wow. You hear that, Jock?
Yeah. I mean, it was something. It was like, I hope that the people listening or watching on the YouTube channel closed their eyes and pictured that scene, because it was like a scene out of a Disney movie when like the villain is like going on this like, you know, villainous rant, but then the clouds darken and the lightning starts striking. It was like that. Like when he started to tell the story, that's when all hell started to break loose in the skies. So what an experience. I'll tell that story to my grandkids someday when they discover, they'll be like, yeah, like that's crazy. You know, I'm a big Red Sox fan now and I'm starting to get into the history. And like, did you see this thing about Tommy Pham? I'd be like, let me tell you something about Tommy Pham and that fantasy football league.
First off, I love how your grandchildren are introducing themselves to you at some point, just about how their entire Red Sox fandom. No clue that Jared Carrabis was once, you know, leading Red Sox Nation.
By that point, I'll like literally be like living in the fucking woods of New Hampshire. So like,
but so he tells you this story of a lifetime, controlling the weather all on his own, basically being Thor, the way I'm hearing this, and then he goes 2 for 4.
Yeah,
pretty fucking badass if you ask me.
Yeah, no, he's a bad dude. He's a special cat, and that was just one of those stories that I feel like if I told that on radio, people would be like, bullshit. Like you're making it like you're making that up. Not making. I swear on my mother's life, that's what happened.
Listen, you can check the receipts. You told that initial story when you met Tommy Pham on this podcast.
Yeah,
it's there.
Yeah. And now, I mean, there are people to corroborate the story. I mean, there was a clubby there.
Was that the scariest question you've ever asked a player?
No, because I feel like it was one of those things where trying to think of like the perfect example, but like obviously he knows that everyone knows that story. And I'm sure he hasn't had the opportunity to just be like, here's what happened. Like, here's why I was so pissed about it. And so it's like, you're almost waiting to be asked so that you can tell your side. So I think it was there. It's like, because when it came up, he was like, all right, here's what happened. Like, here's the whole story. We're like, okay, cool.
I'd love for us to have him on during the offseason to see if the weather thing happens again.
I think he would do it. Yeah. I think he would do it. Yeah, I mean, it was it was just quite an experience.
Thank you for risking your life.
Yeah, I mean, it was there was one point like he went back into the clubhouse and Colin, he's the clubby, went back down into the clubhouse. So I was in the dugout by myself during, like, I say top 3, but I can't think of any thunderstorm that I've seen that was worse than that. I mean, I'm not usually outside in thunderstorms, like, but in terms of like the sustainability, how long it was that loud and that many lightning strikes, it might be number 1. And to have been where I was with who I was with during it, I'll never forget it for the rest of my life.
Put in the book.
Yeah, book number 2. Yeah, book number 2, the Tommy Pham saga. Yeah, good times. Good times. Jake, you go to any? Jake went viral this week.
Jake, I need to hear the story behind this.
Yeah,
I thought this was bigger than the games.
Yeah. He was all over like baseball Reddit. He was all over like these like meme Instagram pages.
The Facebook pages where it's just like old ass people are the only ones like reposting it. When Jake's popping up there, that tells you where the brand's going.
Right. Yeah. Jake, can you speak on that? Or are you too famous?
Yeah, I think people just resonated with it because like we've all been there when like someone's just sitting behind you, just talking absolute bullshit. And you're just like, you're sitting there in your head, you're just like, yeah, that's not true. But you just don't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, once I saw it on the Facebook pages, I was like, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, you kind of went super viral there for a second. Did you see a nice little bump in followers or?
I think I might have got a couple, maybe 100.
That's not bad. It's a good day at the office for the kid. Gotta respect it.
I will admit, while we're sitting here, I did accidentally hashtag the other day. I have not owned it on this platform, so I just want to say it now. Before,
what did you hashtag?
It was after, or no, I think it was a prospect tweet. It was something, and I accidentally put Red Sox yesterday. I think it was either JD or Bobby Dalbec's 2-run single in the first. I did it to one of them. I made a mistake. I just want to ask for forgiveness before any more people scream at me about it.
You did hashtag what?
Hashtag Red Sox. I'm human. Listen, I there's going to be times where I mess up.
I know.
But I'm getting better.
I know you're human. I mean, yeah.
Sometimes I flinch because I don't know. I just remember that initial reaction from you, and I don't want to go back down that road.
No, I don't either. I really don't. You're better than this.
I am.
You're in recovery. I mean, it's not, you're never not in recovery, but like you're really in recovery right now.
That's what they tell me at the meetings.
Yes. Like, hi, I'm Tyler. And I hashtag.
In 2022.
In 2022, I'm out here hashtagging still. So, anyways, the Red Sox won the series against the Tampa Bay Rays. A good team. And fair or unfair, are the Red Sox a team that teams like the Rays don't want to play right now? Because it's not like they're not talented. They just have had injuries and a decent amount of shit luck. Like, you're not rolling into town to play the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, I don't think anybody looks at them like that. Obviously, the Red Sox have been kind of a punching bag for some time, but you got Trevor Story back, over the last couple days. That, obviously he played one game, but just to have him back in the lineup, that's a big thing. But yeah, this Red Sox team, they're not garbage. They're not useless. They're not looking at a top 3 pick. You know what I mean? They're 13, I think, last time in terms if you were to do the draft picks or whatever it may be. Not a good team, but they can get hot. We've seen it before, and that's why we've talked about it the last few weeks. If they got hot for 2 weeks and won or lost only 1 or 2 games, anything's possible. But I think today, with these moves in the bullpen, they're putting their necks out there, and it's a little bit of a white flag saying, yeah, we're taking a step back. We know we're not competing at the highest level or to make the playoffs, but they'll be there. There's too much talent not to be there.
I'm a big run differential guy, but I feel like the Red Sox run differential is very misleading because when they lose, they fucking lose.
Look at today.
When they don't win baseball games, they get fucking throttled. And that's not indicative of, I guess, the team that they are. Like right now, the Boston Red Sox have the same winning percentage as the San Francisco Giants. Like, this is not a small sample. You basically have 1 month to go. The Red Sox have a .484 winning percentage. The San Francisco Giants have a .484 winning percentage. You have a negative 48 run differential, and the Giants have a -2 run differential.
And listen, that's a team that basically did what you did at the deadline as well, where they stood pat and did a little bit of both because they really weren't sure what to do.
Yeah.
But listen, if you're the Red Sox, and this is just reality, on a night, if their starting pitcher can give them 5 or 6 innings and they can get Garrett Whitlock to give them 2 or John Schreiber to give them 1 or something like that, it's going to be a hard night. They're going to probably go there and get at least 1 game from you. And if things click the right way where they get someone like Rich Hill to step up and have, a performance of 7 innings and no runs, then they can go and steal 2 out of 3 from you. And you're kind of sitting there like, how the hell did we only win 1 game when they looked the way they did on Sunday?
Right. Yeah. I was pleased with this series. And to be honest, like, I was at Fenway, but I was kind of like half paying attention to the game because we had the DraftKings fantasy baseball. It was like the daily fantasy baseball league where, like, top prize gets $1 million. And they had It's really cool. I didn't know that this room was up there. I knew that they redid behind the bleachers, but they did like where like the Nesson studio is. This is above that. And it's this big ass event room that they put in there. It was huge. Like when they on the broadcast the other night when they're like, oh yeah, like this high school had their prom there. This was the room that they had their fucking prom in. It's huge. And like there's no like it's one big open space that's essentially the length of the bleachers up there. So DraftKings put in a bunch of couches and they put in a wall of TVs, like these big ass TVs, and they had all the games on. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna watch all the games like I do at home, but they were just the TVs were bigger. But I was there Friday night. And that win felt good. And I know that some people like actually I went to the bar was called the Kenmore with the Apple TV crew after the Friday night's game. And I gave my ID to the guy at the door and he's like, "Hi, how are you doing?" And I was like, "Good, the Red Sox won." And he's like, "Yeah, but they barely won. Didn't they win by like one?" I was like, "My dude, any day the Red Sox win is a good day. Yeah. I don't give a fuck if like they were, what were they up 9-4?
Yeah, and then Ryan Brazier did what Ryan Brazier does, pissed down his legs, 4 earned runs in the 8th inning. Thank you for showing up. I don't know what dirt he has on this Red Sox front office.
This is his birthday.
Good for him. Pitch better, please. Have an ERA below 6.
Tyler Milliken, notorious for not giving a fuck about birthdays.
Listen, not a big birthday guy. You can celebrate your birthday if you do your job well.
That's true.
That's all I ask. I'm not saying your birthday doesn't matter, but don't show up and get an out. Record one out.
I like Brazier. I'm very surprised that he
sucks.
Made it through the chopping block that happened after today's game.
Just for context, dating back to 2019 now, 140 in a third innings. What would you guess his ERA is, Jared?
How many? 140 in a third?
Yep.
518.
It's 5 on the dot. I don't know how he's done it. It's pretty incredible. We watched the same thing with Ryan Brazier. He can go 2 or 3 outings where it looks good, where he's sitting 97, 98. We saw it against the Yankees, right? And then he looks the way he did on Friday night. And that's really been the issue with the Red Sox all season, where you can never enjoy a game. You can't ever sit there and say, hey, the Red Sox, they took care of business today. This game never actually felt close. Ryan Brazier has to sit there and grab you by the balls. You can't even breathe. And I'm like 1 out. Matt Barnes putting this team on his fucking back, man.
By the way, Matt Barnes is back.
Oh, he is fucking back. And for all those frauds that said he was never going to be back, be scared. 10 and a third innings.
Fuck you guys.
2 earned runs. That's a 174 ERA at 225 FIP.
I don't want anyone celebrating Matt Barnes' success that was out on him when he was struggling.
Yeah, all those DFA Matt Barnes, you'll be remembered.
Yeah, fuck those people.
And I thought whatever that little conversation he had on Nesson a couple days, I don't know if you caught it, Jared, and you've probably talked with him, so you know more than someone like I would.
We talk almost like every day.
You guys are boys, best friends, right?
Yeah.
Matt Barnes is saying, listen, I know I may never throw 98, 99 again, but I'm okay with that. That's like hearing that. I'm like, wow, like that's maturity. That's growth. That's realizing, hey, I may never be 2021 me, but I was a pretty damn good setup man for a lot of years before that.
Yeah. Mentally, Matt's in a great place.
It sounds like
Matt's in a great place mentally. And I think he has his confidence back, but he's still humble. And this is something that we talked about where it might have been. What was the game that he came off the mound screaming? That was on Friday?
Yes.
And I was like, hey, you're back. And he's like, I'm going to stay humble. And I was like, I get to not be humble for you. So I'm excited to see this because I know, I mean, like having these conversations after even there's some guys that if they have a bad outing, I'll stay away. I'm like certain individuals. They just want to, the last thing that they want to do is hear from you after a bad game or if they're going through a bad time. Some guys, the silence is too loud. Some guys, They want to hear from you because it's almost like in their head they think, and I'm not talking, this isn't like Barnes that I have in mind, but some guys they think like, oh, I suck, he doesn't like me anymore, or oh, I suck, he now he's moved on to someone that's doing well, and you want to stay in their corner. You want to let them know, like, yeah, I'm still fucking rooting for you, even if things aren't going well right now. But with Matt, there was an injury issue. I think the sticky stuff crackdown last year was also a thing. Not saying that it was spider tack, but guys that were using rosin and bullfrog and whatever sunscreen, guys that were used to having some sort of stick that now magically couldn't use it anymore.
Almost like that's why the command went on the fastball and curveball, along with the stuff diminishing. But the biggest thing this year has been he can throw the curveball for strikes again.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of that. So it's been fun. It hasn't all been fun, but I've enjoyed watching the, Matt Barnes, the all-star reliever, to facing adversity. And that adversity lasted almost a fucking year. I mean, it basically was a year, to coming back from that and having success again and seeing his confidence grow. Like, that has been a really fun thing to see come full circle. And there's certain guys that, they may not deserve your applause. Like, they may be good, they may be good baseball players, but like, fuck them. Like if Aroldis Chapman comes back from this tattoo injury and has success, I don't think that, he doesn't deserve your applause because he's a fucking asshole. But like a guy like Matt Barnes, he's fucking fun to root for. Good dude.
And
good dude. And I feel like, I get, and I can appreciate and I can respect the baseball fans that watch the game without any sentimental value. They're just like, these guys are just names and numbers to me, and I'm going to keep, like, that's how an executive would look at the game. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I and maybe this is me just like getting older, but I mean, that was like kind of the big thing with, when you're like, we go to journalism school, we don't root for players, we root for stories. We root for guys, we don't root for teams. I'm doing both. Like, I'm fucking obviously rooting for the Red Sox, but then once you get to know them, like, that was one of the biggest adjustments for me ever. Like, like starting the career versus just being a fan all along. Sometimes I wish I could go back to just only knowing them as players on the TV screen. Sometimes I wish that I could do that, but then there's times where like you get to know them as people and you're like, this is kind of better. Like, it gives you an extra rooting interest. Like, you get to be like they may not have been your favorite player if you were just watching on TV, but when you know them as a person, it's like, yeah, fuck yeah. Like, that's another reason to root for a guy that's on my favorite baseball team.
And I think the other thing, like, that has sat so weird with me for the crowd that shits on Matt Barnes or, just wanted to say DFA him or get rid of him. Like, how rare is it to have someone like that around in your organization in baseball today? Like that, really, in any sport today. Like, a kid was drafted 19th overall back in 2011. It's been 11 years.
Yeah.
And he's been a really, solid reliever for you. He's been part of a championship run in 2018. And through ups and downs, different eras of the Red Sox, he's always been the same guy. You've never had to worry about Matt Barnes getting into weird things. If anything, the organization has kind of put him in some really bad positions throughout his career where they've run him into the ground and he's kind of had to just eat it, had to face the media for it. And that's why I was so happy for him when he got the contract he did last year. And even this year, when he struggled, I throw a lot of that on this Red Sox front office because he said, when I came to spring training, I knew I didn't have it. And the Red Sox still said, too bad. You're going to have to pitch at the back end of this bullpen.
Right.
That's not taking care of your guys. And this is a guy who's taking care of you constantly, again and again and again.
And that's something that I want to do a better job of next year is like, obviously, I think because of how the team played, I stayed away from the interviews and stuff. But when I talk about, like I root for guys that it's more interesting to root for guys that you know as people. That's kind of the whole point of this fucking podcast. Like, obviously, like, we're talking about the games and everything, but the interviews and having guys on and having them be loose with us is like part of what made the podcast popular in the first place. And we didn't do a ton of that this year, mostly because we didn't have like a video streaming platform to do the show on. But I think, maybe we can do that towards the end. Like maybe, because JD's future is uncertain. I was thinking of that today. Like it'd be nice to sit down with JD. We haven't had him on since 2018. I don't like bugging people, but it's also like part of the job. Like you're supposed to do that. But I hate feeling like I'm like bothering them. So, but I mean, if you think that this is it and you've been here for 5 years, and I think if there's anyone that you're going to sit down and reflect on your time in Boston in front of a microphone with, I would imagine that this is the place that JD would do it. So yeah, maybe I'll get back on that. Jake, can we fucking if we were to do an interview in the dugout at Fenway, do you know how to use that Zoom mic?
Yeah, we bring the Zoom and bring a couple microphones. I'll bring like a camera and borrow one from DK. We can get a 2-cam setup going.
All right, let's just do that then.
Let's do it.
I mean, when is the Red Sox are home next weekend too, right? Or did I make that up?
I think you're right.
What's today? Yeah, they get Texas this upcoming weekend. All right, let's get some fucking interviews. Let's get some goddamn interviews, Jake. And then obviously I want Milliken to be in on the Chaim one, so I'll save that. But
thank you.
Yeah, maybe we can get some interviews next week. It's been a while. I miss doing it. It's fun. It's fun when they're happy. When they're like,
well, maybe now that the end of the year is coming, that it seems like the team is understanding where they're at. There's a relief. There's an understanding. All right, well, whatever this year is, we're almost on vacation.
Yeah.
Maybe guys are more willing to open up than they were, 3-4 weeks ago when Christian Vasquez was heading out and the team had all this pressure on them. Really, you're more games back than there are weeks left in the season.
Mm.
That usually is the sign to tell you what to think of a baseball team.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not good, but you know what is good?
What?
Blue Moon.
Oof.
Yeah. Because baseball and beer go hand in hand, and Blue Moon is the perfect stadium companion with its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, iconic orange slice ritual, and authentic ballpark roots. In fact, Blue Moon was born in a ballpark first created at the Sandlot Brewery in Denver, Colorado. From the first pitch to extra innings, a Blue Moon guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer experience every single time. Jake, when you went to Fenway, what was that, yesterday?
That was yesterday.
How many Blue Moons did you have out there in the bleachers?
I had 3 in the bleachers, and then I had a few more after.
Yeah, that's amazing. Did you see other people were drinking Blue Moon on the bleachers?
Pretty much only Blue Moons.
Would you say that Blue Moon is the beer of the bleachers at Fenway Park?
Yeah, I don't know how you could say anything different.
That's true. With its refreshing flavor, Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian White is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something that's one of a kind? Best served with a signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful hazy color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Break out of your same old beer slump. Blue Moon Belgian White is one of a kind every time. Get Blue Moon Belgian White delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared to see your delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale.
We do have some news here.
What's that?
We have officially Zach Kelly will be coming up. One of the arms that's been talked about. Old friend Caleb Ort is coming back up as well. So he's picked up. It's been rough. 15 innings this year, 9 ERA, 406 FIP. I don't think he was as bad as the numbers looked. He had some decent outings, but they were also abusing him and making him pitch when there was nobody left in that entire bullpen. We all remember, what was it, the Astros game where they told him too bad? Just go wear it for 3.
Someone just messaged me a little something too.
Oh, God. Don't tell. Okay.
What?
It's not what I think it is. Oh, my God, it is. Jared, how good is... Oh, no.
I mean,
say something, please. You can change my life right now. That there are 2 40-man spots now open after those DFAs. Zach Kelly will take one of them. I believe Caleb Ort's already on the 40-man, right?
Mm-hmm. This would be. I'm working to confirm this one.
Okay. I'm just running down the 40-man list here, making sure. Yep, Caleb Ort still on the 40-man after his time in the bigs. So that leaves a 40-man spot open.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying this is what you're talking about, but in terms of prospect news, because we haven't done that portion of the show, Tristan Casas did hit his 10th home run of the season, or of the minor league season today. Oh no. Is that the Tristan Casas alarm?
I think it might be.
Shut the fuck up.
I think it might be. I think it might be.
Shut the fuck up.
I think it might be. I don't. All right. So all I heard all this message says Casas getting called up to the big leagues.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
How good's the source?
All I said was, how do you know? So we'll see what the response is to that.
There is a God.
We'll see what the response is to that. I mean, people forget I do have Tristan Casas' phone number.
I don't think it'd be wrong of you to just check in on him.
Just be like, hey, dude, what's up?
Definitely not asking if you're getting called up or anything.
No.
Saw your homer today. Just,
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Not bad. Wow. That would be, that's the shakeup that would make this team fun. And obviously, Franchi Cordero today dropping another ball. Mm-hmm. Can you argue that Alex Verdugo probably should have taken over? Yeah, but a first baseman catches that ball. Verdugo would have had to run all the way in. Just for context, Casas entered today with a 966 OPS this month, 159 weighted runs created plus.
I really want to get the response here on that.
We got time.
The Casas alarm.
We got time.
We got time.
Wow.
I mean, this person gave me McCullers out for the ALCS.
Wow, that's pretty good. So you wouldn't deem them a local person?
No.
Interesting.
No. But McCullers out for the ALCS was a scoop that they gave me. Yeah.
There's a 40-man spot. For those who want to know about Zach Coley, listen, I'm not telling you to think he's the greatest thing ever to come up, but he's had a really good year in AAA this year. 49 and 2/3, 2.72 ERA, 2.81 FIP, 13 K per nine. He'll walk some guys. It's about 4.5 per nine. But it's electric stuff. It's upper 90s, good movement. Someone that, one of those guys older. I think he's 27 right now. He's been knocking on the door. It's not Frank German. It may not be that of the elite relieving prospects, but this is someone to get excited about.
So they said, heard from the same person who clued me into McCullers being left off the ALCS roster. He told me it's coming soon, which I'm assuming means September call-up, which I think we kind of all... it doesn't mean tomorrow. So maybe a false Tristan Casas alarm.
That would be upsetting. Just for reference, it's obviously only up to 28 now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So it's 2 players.
I mean, September is this week coming up, right?
Yeah. That would be interesting.
Thursday.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting thing. I think Connor Wong has been the name a lot of people have been kind of harping out there, and he's going off this month. It's ridiculous seeing what he's doing. A lot of people close the door on him. Don't do it. Catchers take longer to develop, and he's playing second base now as well. So that's a real piece off the bench. But I want to see Tristan Casas.
Same. And I think we will. I think we will next week. I just, I was hoping that it was going to be tomorrow or tonight. Anyways, I want to talk about Rich Hill. I want to talk about the fact that he punched out 11 batters on Saturday and did it in a way that was just so beautiful, so pure. Did you get to watch this entire game, Tyler?
I was very fortunate because I truthfully think I saw, there's throwing and there's pitching. This is what pitching looks like.
This is what pitching is. Different arm angles. I mean, he basically said, hey, Tampa, go fuck yourself. Like, here's my 88. Try and catch up to it. You can't.
Oh,
it was cutters. It was fastballs. It was changeups. It was sliders. It was curveballs. And he was doing quick pitches. He was doing little stutter steps. He was doing little pauses. He probably averaged a pitch every 1.7 seconds to the point where Tampa called timeout like 18 times and he still threw the pitch anyway. So I think he threw a season high like 94 pitches, but it was really like 115 pitches because of how many times that he still delivered a pitch because Tampa had to call time because he was pitching too fast.
It was crazy just to see the fluidity of it. And he said it after the game. He didn't shake Kevin Plawecki off once. Not once that entire damn game. So like you could tell they were feeling each other, and he went and said Plawecki, one of the best game callers in all of baseball. Well, hey,
maybe ever.
When he's throwing the ball like that and you play a game, what was it, like 2 hours and like 30 minutes or something like that?
Yeah.
Like he brought us back to like watching baseball when he was a kid. Like this is a 42-year-old man. He said, hold on, let me show you what I used to watch baseball like. Hey, Rays, you want to load your lineup up all righties against me? Watch what the fuck I'm going to do to them. And it was
a masterclass. Truthfully,
and just carve. And I sit back and I was like thinking in my head, in recent years, the Red Sox haven't had a lot of pitchers that were this old. The last time I saw a pitcher around this age dominate like this was probably Curt Schilling against the A's when he lost the no-hitter.
Shannon Stewart.
Yep. Bro, that ruined my childhood.
That's the only time that he, the pitch that he gave up the hit to Shannon Stewart was the only time that he shook off Jason Varitek all day.
What did Rich Hill not do yesterday?
Shook off Jason Varitek reincarnated, a.k.a. Kevin Plawecki.
He learned his lesson.
I mean, you can put it this way. Kevin Plawecki has learned a lot from Jason Varitek.
Hell yeah.
They're golf buddies on the road. They hang together on the road. So the Yankees went the minimum today.
Yeah. Really, really rough time, especially after the day before.
Yeah, getting walked off by the A's and then basically having a perfect game thrown against you and at the Coliseum.
Life's tough.
What was it? A walk in an error. So it's like, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. But I mean, again, I'm not here to talk about the Yankees. Someone was complaining about that the other day. They were like, you talk about the Yankees too much.
No, listen, we're not going to talk about the Yankees and Aroldis Chapman having to land on the IL when the bullpen's already short because he thought it was a good idea to get a tattoo and then somehow it got infected.
That is crazy to get it. I mean, when I get a tattoo, I don't do anything physical for an entire week.
Okay.
Like you couldn't have waited till the off. Like the tattoo is on his fucking leg. Like you can't even see it anyway. And you couldn't have waited till the off season to get that worked on.
And on top of it, you're trying to get your career back on track here. Like you've lost your spot holding that closer spot that you've owned for years earlier in the year. You haven't been able to stay healthy. This is what you're doing. This is where your mind's at.
You're going to get a tattoo on your leg, which means it would also be ill-advised to be doing leg workouts. You're not supposed to get sweat. And also it's a fucking open wound. Imagine getting a tattoo on your leg and then doing squats or a leg press. So going for a run.
I've never got a tattoo before. Jake, I don't know. Obviously you have Jared, I think.
I have two.
Two? Yeah, that looks right.
Mm-hmm.
When they put what is it called? Saran wrap on it? Is that what they wrap around that?
Basically, yeah.
So if you take it off, it'll get infected.
No. I mean, I use a thing called second skin where it's kind of sticky saran wrap and you leave that on for 5 days and you can take it off. But that's mostly it protects it. But then it also, it's if it bleeds or you have plasma leak out of it, it takes the ink with it. But if you have the second skin on it, then the tattoo will suck the ink back up like it's a fucking Christmas tree. But that's not you don't have to do that.
Sounds like Chapman needs some of that.
Sounds like Chapman needs to just wait until the fucking off season to get a tattoo, especially if it's on your leg. If he got a back tattoo or something like that, I get it, or your neck, but something that you're gonna be putting on tight baseball pants with dirt from the field. Even if it was covered up, you're sweating, and he sweats a lot.
Balls. He sweats balls out there.
He sweats a lot. So yeah, getting a tattoo on your arm or your leg would be really dumb as a baseball player during baseball season.
Especially for a guy who's dealt with injuries this year to his lower half. What, it was Achilles tendonitis?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you shouldn't be putting any parts of the lower half of your body in any more danger.
Well, he's a fucking idiot.
He's done a lot of stupid shit.
He's done a lot of stupid shit. Yeah. But yeah, Rich Hill, did you see like the list of like, it's like at least 42 years old, like 10 strikeouts or more in a single game? It was like Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens, Steve Carlton, Randy Johnson, Rich Hill.
Yeah, I think like Nolan Ryan did it like 30 fucking times or something like that. But
like 32.
Number 2 was like 5. Was it Randy Johnson?
I know Clemens had a few because he was fucking nasty when he was in Houston.
Well, he was, let's be real. He ran a little bit of what Rich Hill wants to do next year, coming back midway and then go from there. Show up in June and pitch your way to the playoffs. What Rich Hill did yesterday, that alone, as long as he doesn't completely shit the bed down the stretch, it's a 4.32 ERA this year, a 4.01 FIP. There'll be someone willing to take him on.
It is he's the 5th pitcher in MLB history to have at least 11 strikeouts in a game, 42 years or older. Rich Hill did it once. Nolan Ryan did it 26 times. Randy Johnson did it. Gaylord Perry did it twice. Roger Clemens only did it once. But the list is even smaller. MLB pitchers to allow 0 runs and strike out 11 plus batters in a game at the age of 42 or older. Nolan Ryan did that 8 times. Roger Clemens did it once. And Rich Hill did it once.
That's the conversation he should be in anyways.
Nolan Ryan and Roger Clemens?
Yeah. Obviously, Rich Hill outshines him a little bit, but that seems like the right group.
Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens, Rich Hill. Do they retire Rich Hill's number, do you think?
They better. I thought they were going to do it in the middle of the year.
They have to now. Now their hands are tied.
Yeah, when he went and him and Alex Cora had that moment, which was the first time I felt something in quite some time, I thought they were going to do it right there.
At 42 years, 169 days, Rich Hill is the oldest pitcher to throw 10 strikeouts in a game since Randy Johnson in 2008. He's the 3rd pitcher since 1900 to have a scoreless start with 10 Ks at 42 years or older, joining Nolan Ryan, who did it 10 times, and Roger Clemens, who did it 3 times. Love that. I was clapping. I was in my apartment by myself, and when he came off the mound and they had that shot of him walking off the field, I was just like...
Do you ever do the standing up clap when you're at home?
Yeah, probably.
I'm one of those people.
You have to. I do a lot of shit like during games that if I'm like by myself, I'm like, that was kind of weird, but no one saw it, so who cares?
Listen, if it works, it works.
Yeah. No, I get into it. I mean, it has to be. Obviously, like that was one of the big things that was upsetting me a lot on Friday. I was at the game by myself, sat there. This is after the Tommy Pham experience. So I was still coming down from like an adrenaline high. Had my dinner in State Street. Shout out State Street. And then I was like, it's really bugging me that even if the Red Sox win this game, it doesn't matter. Like that bothers me a lot. But then there's times like Saturday where the standings don't really matter. You're just looking at the individual and the individual's performance, and Rich Hill going out there and going 7 shutout innings, striking out 11, and just the way that he was working. Like it was fun to watch. And like I think some of the people in the media were like, yeah, I loved it because it was so quick and fast. And like I want to go home to my fucking miserable life at home. Like that's not what it is for me. Like I don't care if the game took 5 hours. Like if it was like a scoreless tie and then the game ended up being 4.5 hours anyway, I don't give a shit. It was more so that he clearly had a plan going in and it worked. He worked as fast as he possibly could. He kept Rays hitters uncomfortable in the batter's box, and they didn't have an answer for it all day. Like, I mean, the fact that he was able to complete 7 innings, and I think Eck was talking about it on the broadcast about how, and Maz too, they were talking about how, like, you never get to give a starting pitcher that kind of a standing ovation to show how much you appreciate their outing, because guys aren't going 7 shutout innings with 10 plus strikeouts anymore. It just doesn't happen. It's not, they'd be like, oh yeah, we don't want our guys to see a lineup for the third time. And it used to just be, as recently as last year or the year before, it used to be like, there's a guy here, a guy there that we don't want to see the third time through. Now it's just like no one gets to see the lineup the third time through. But you had Alex Cora sending Rich Hill out there for a 7th inning, working on a shutout. And I believe, did he strike out the side in the 7th?
Did he? Was it all 3?
If he didn't strike out the side, he at least struck out 2.
Let's find out.
Either way, he finished strong. He did not labor at the end. But yeah, that was a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoyed that. It was, for me, like people like what they like about baseball. I think if you're a baseball fan, it's not a uniformed thing where all baseball fans like offense. All baseball fans, their favorite thing about baseball is defense or pitching or whatever. If you follow me on Twitter, I'm an offense guy. I like homers. I like seeing guys hit the shit out of the baseball, and I like to see it go far. I was a pitcher in high school, so I love the art of pitching, and I love doing it myself. But the thing that I like to watch is offense. And then you'll get guys that, like, growing up in Boston, I got to see Pedro Martinez, his entire Red Sox career. I got to see the whole thing. So those were the days where you would sit down and you had a lot of names and stars in the lineup, but you couldn't wait for Pedro to get back on the mound to watch him do his thing. And then Chris Sale and John Lester and guys like that, Kurt Schilling when he was here for, until he got hurt again. But there's certain guys, for me, I prefer offense guy, that you get giddy about watching. And I'm not saying that Rich Hill's going to become that every 5th day, but I certainly, once I kind of like sensed the trend that was the play. Hey, we're just going to fucking get the ball and throw it and chuck it up there. And not only just the pace, the number of strikes. It doesn't matter if you're working quick, if you're not throwing strikes. He threw like fucking 75% strikes. He was just filling up the zone. Up, down, in, out, hard, soft. Like what Maz said. Like he just fucking made it an art form. And that is a lot of fun to watch for me.
It is. And I think the reason you hear Maz and them get so excited is because this is something they haven't seen in, really the last 5 years overall. But where baseball is going, when's the next time you can say you're going to watch someone who basically works, in the high 80s and throws just, curveball, different angles, all this different stuff? When are you going to see a performance like this, or even a pitcher like this, be out there every 5th day, or even Rich Hill at this point? It's not every 5th day, but be out there regularly. That's just not where the sport's going. And they're moving farther and farther away from the guys who are junk ball throwers or kind of just trying to outpitch you. And by the way, Jared, he did strike out the side in the 8th. There was a single in there. That's what kind of threw things off. Or 7th. Thank you. Isaac Paredes was the one who singled. But yeah, it's just not.
He was probably like the most frustrated with Hill too. Like he called time like a bunch of times.
And that was the only ball that actually left the infield. Like truthfully, like went into center field. So
yeah,
that's the kind of performance from Rich Hill where you just know you're not going to see a lot of stuff like that. And I think considering where this Red Sox team has been, outside of Michael Wacha, there hasn't been many moments like this. Maybe Nick Pivetta for that 2-month stretch, but where you saw someone actually go out there and dominate. We didn't see that out of Nate Eovaldi this year. Obviously, we never got to see it out of Chris Sale. So to have a pitcher just go out there and shove it down in AL East foes throat of all teams, when you've been getting kicked around by them consistently, it was just one of those things where you kind of could let go of the standings for a day. And that's not easy for someone like me, but where the game just takes over. And that's what baseball's about, especially where we are right now. If we can't enjoy moments like that, it's going to be a really miserable 5 weeks.
I almost cited a game that was last year, thinking it was this year. The Nick Pivetta showdown with DeGrom. That was last year, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Early last year, too.
Humble brag. I'm pretty sure I was at David Ortiz's house for that.
Wow. Pretty badass.
That was we were filming episode 1. Call him Poppy, and Nick Pivetta went toe to toe with Jacob deGrom. I can't remember like with this group, like a one game like pitching performance that like stood out. I guess we've seen a couple, like we were on a run of complete game shutouts, right?
Yeah, Michael Wacha went the distance and did it all in LA. Nick Pivetta, was it Oakland he had his against? It was at Fenway.
Yeah, maybe. I can't remember. I know that Pivetta had one. I just can't remember who it was against. But yeah, there was like a stretch where just everyone was doing it. It was the thing to do, throw a complete game shutout.
I do have some frustration with Nick Pivetta, if I'm being honest.
How do you not? I mean, it's wildly inconsistent. And
see, I
want to feel good about Pivetta. Like I want to feel like, I'm not asking for Nick Pivetta to be an ace or even a 2, but at least when you're at your worst or close to it, give the Red Sox a chance to win the game. Like when he sucks, he sucks.
Well, it's who he sucks against is the problem. He's made 11 starts against AL East teams this year. Do you want to guess the ERA? It's that bad.
Wait, against the AL East?
Yep.
Like 11-30?
724.
Okay.
It's a 272 against everyone else. Like 724?
It's bad. How many innings?
I don't have the innings total right in front of me right now. But that's what it is. 11 starts this year where he's gone up against teams and absolutely got shelled. I will tell you, there is one team he's pitched well against, and it is the Orioles, where the ERA isn't horrendous. Every other team,
great team.
It's as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
But he's now sitting like where we talk about the inconsistency. It's really not. It's who he is. He can get hot for a 2-month span like we saw, but he's rated a 4.5 ERA again this year. That's who he was last year. And
I'm excited for Zach Kelly.
He should be. It's just a different arm. It's fresh blood.
And he's good.
He is good. They have been weirdly patient with him, which, I wouldn't say that's a big concern. I think they were just holding on to whatever these playoff hopes were. But it beats out Austin Davis. It beats out Hirokazu Sawamura. It would beat out Ryan Brazier if he was gone. But, he's still somehow here. I'll take it. Just anything that's different. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. What did you see in all 3 games of this series? The one thing you could draw to each game. Ryan Brazier shitting the bed, Jerry's Familia forcing John Schreiber into the game, and then this third game was a combination of Sawamura not being able to do it, him scuffling, and then Austin Davis.
I almost tweeted it on Friday when Schreiber went out there with he shaved his beard and his hair.
Creepy.
I saw him standing out there for the national anthem, and I was about to take a picture of my TV and be like, "Who the fuck is this?" I was like, I pride myself on knowing every single player on the roster. And I was like, I don't know who this guy is. And it was John Schreiber. And I told him that on Friday. And he's like, yeah, I already regret it. He's like, it's going to take me 3 fucking months to grow this hair back.
Listen, I can relate to him because you guys haven't seen me without a beard before, but I have the same chin deficiency that he does.
Yeah. I'll never shave my beard. I've already said that I'm an EMT school dropout. I was in EMT school and they told me, we were like, I don't even know how many weeks in, but they're like, yeah, you have to do a ride along on an ambulance. You're going to have to be clean shaven for that. And I was like, I'm quitting.
Can't have any facial hair?
Nope. Because if you're what is it? If you put the mask on, it has to fully seal or some shit. So yeah, they're like, no facial hair. I'm like, sorry.
Not too bad.
I'm going to find a completely different career.
Well, see, I think Austin Davis tried to do the same thing and it didn't work. I think he just copied John Schreiber, hoping he'd be like John Schreiber, and now he doesn't have a job.
Yeah. Zach Kelly, this is from Ian Kundle. Shout out to Sox prospects.
Legends.
Last 10 games, 12 2/3, 4 hits, 0 runs, 6 walks, 19 strikeouts. Opponents are hitting 100 with they're slugging 100 as well. The fuck? Plus fastball and changeup. Inconsistent command and control, but has improved as the season has gone on. Cool. I'm excited. I'm excited for Zach Kelly. Not so much for fucking Caleb Ort. Seen enough of the Ort man.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if you're thinking and looking at it the same way, like, oh, this is another Caleb Ort. No, he's better than Caleb Ort by a good, significant margin.
Yeah. The Red Sox did win the series, which means that we get to call Coley.
Yes.
Should we vote for Clark's catch-up series MVP before we get Coley on the line, or should we have Coley join us first?
I don't know. I had a hard time with this one, so maybe it may not be a hard or a bad idea to get Coley in here.
He didn't answer last time.
It was late, though. Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, Coley.
Hey, Jerry.
Coley.
What's up?
Right now, we're just talking a little Sox.
The red one?
the very same.
All right.
Talking a little Sox and not filling in the rest as OB once said. But we got to the part of the show where we're trying to figure out who the Clark's Catch-Up Series MVP is. And I'm going to vote first only because 2 episodes ago, people were saying that I wait for everyone to vote first and then I base my vote on what everyone else says. And I've really resented that ever since. So now I vote first. So I'm going to go Rich Hill. No one clap. Just wait. The vote number 2. Jake.
Yeah, it's Rich Hill.
Rich Hill, 2 votes. 2 votes for Rich Hill. I need to have how do you get fucking let me see. I don't know if I can do it while Coley's on the phone. Let me see if I can get some dramatic music. Is this the music?
Oh yeah.
That's not.
I'm fired the fuck up right now.
This is an ad.
No, this is good. Keep it going.
No, this is an ad.
Turn that shit up.
No, turning it down. And don't laugh, Coley. This is another ad. Come on, why don't I have fucking YouTube?
Download ad block. You're better than this. The same ad twice?
What? This is not working. This is not working.
Pathetic.
This is not working. This is not working. All right.
Acapella.
And Coley, your vote.
My mind immediately goes to, because, it's not just always the players on the field, it's the people in the stands as well. They're a huge part of this. And when you sit next to someone who really breaks down the game, not just the game in front of them, but the history, and lets people know why number 42 is retired.
Yep.
Because that goddamn Rivera was just so good.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that guy deserves some recognition here.
Mariano Rivera or the guy in the stands?
Yeah.
Bull.
But do they deserve catch-up? That's a big question.
It's different. It's very different.
Xander hit a tank in a game that they barely won. So I feel like he deserves, without that, Rich Hill can go shove all he wants. They lose this series 2-1, and we're not even, we're in a catch-up drought without that.
Mm-hmm.
But Rich Hill did shove. It was nice to see. If only that had happened more often this season. Maybe we're having a different season. Who's to say?
Mm-hmm.
Franchi hits a home run every game now. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Much like Rich Hill, if that had been happening all season, who's to say? Just who? It's not for me to say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Charlotte right now, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I get off my plane. I'm walking. I pan to my right. Whose gigantic fucking head do I see waiting to get on that plane to fly back to Boston? Chris Castillo of the Mexican Times.
No.
He could be more.
He sucks, if we're being honest. He really does.
He made me miss getting my bag off the carousel. I had to go to another man who had been holding it for me. I don't even know if that guy worked for the airport. He just had my bag.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I saw Christopher Julio Castillo at the Charlotte airport, as one does.
Right.
So I'm going to go Tommy Pham.
Tommy Pham!
I believe he went 2 for 4 in each of the wins, and then he homered today. So it's not his fault it wasn't a sweep.
That's fair. Okay.
He tried to sweep, but everyone else not so much.
Okay. So wait, he had 6 hits in the series?
Yeah, 2 hits every single game. And he also threw out, who was it? Yandy Diaz a second?
What, on Friday?
On Sunday, right? Today.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember tweeting a few days ago, it's not a good idea to run on Tommy Pham.
He threw someone out the last series in Toronto, too. George Springer.
And he also just crashed his hip into the Green Monster and then came back the next day and got a couple more hits.
I'm going to be real. Tommy Pham was my pick.
So we're tied.
Yeah. I was going to give a packet to Austin Davis for pitching himself off the team. I do appreciate that as well. So packet to Austin Davis. Ryan Brazier didn't get the job done, so no packet for him today.
What the fuck do we do? If there's a tie, but we already called Coley, and there's no chance that Peter Pat watched the games, like who the fuck do we ask?
God.
Who can we ask?
Castillo's on a plane right now, so we can't ask him.
No. Should we ask Matt Barnes as the defending Clark's Ketchup Series MVP?
There's been worse decisions.
As the defending Clark's Ketchup. Why can't I spell? I don't know what Coley just hung up on us.
Dead.
Two votes to 2 votes.
Who can we trust with this decision?
Pham versus Hill. Giving you a vote. Oh, here's Coley. What the hell was that?
I got another call.
And you just took it?
That's what. Listen, when you're in Charlotte, you just take calls.
Do they have a vote?
The Charlotte vote?
Yes.
Wait, where are you?
Charlotte.
Why are you there?
What do you mean?
Why are you in North Carolina?
They traded me for Castillo.
Oh, right.
That was the only way he could get back.
Jesus. He's such a bum, too.
Yeah, no, I was a little insulted that I was all it took.
This is going to be tough. This is going to be a tough vote for Matt Barnes.
I'm just going to put it like this. One player impacted every game, and one player impacted one game.
But that's like saying that you just can't vote for a pitcher then, ever? Like a starter can never win it?
If you throw a no-hitter or something.
I think Pham's case would be much stronger if the Red Sox swept, because then it's like he affected all 3 games, but it's like, he had 2 hits here, 2 hits there. Rich Hill is the oldest pitcher ever to throw 7 shutout innings with 11 strikeouts.
What an arbitrary stat.
And did any of Tommy Pham's hits win the game for the Red Sox?
Did Rich Hill control the weather?
He did control the weather.
Okay. Thank you.
He did control the weather. I think he doesn't have his read receipts on, but I think what Matt Barnes is doing here is he read the text and he was like, the answer is Rich Hill, but I'm not picking against Tommy Pham.
I think it's just bias.
The vote is in.
It's bias. Don't say it.
The vote is in.
This is fraudulent.
How is it fraudulent?
I don't even know if I trust you. It's kind of weird that you were just talking about that and then you flipped the conversation to say he answered.
I'll show it to you.
I don't want to see it.
So you don't want to see the truth?
Speak with conviction and let me see if I believe it.
He said, has to be Dick Mountain. As the defending Clark's Ketchup Series MVP, I mean, it was 2 votes to 2 votes, Tyler. This is not fuckery. We had no one else to ask. I mean, I think the best, that has to be the new rule. Whoever
we need a position
defending
player.
Clark's Ketchup Series MVP. I mean, I don't think, have we had, Jake, have we had a starting pitcher win this year?
The one game series against the Orioles, didn't a pitcher win then?
Who?
Well, you mean a starting pitcher, right? Because we gave Barnes has a win.
Yeah, starting.
Waka didn't get one?
I don't think so. I mean, this poor bastard that spends his time logging the Clark's Ketchup Series MVP, and we're just like, I don't know, where can we get this information? It's on the Section 10 Reddit page. I think he posted it recently. Yeah, okay, here. 2022 Clark's Ketchup MVP count. JD Martinez, 2. Rafael Devers, 2. Trevor Story, 2. Christian Vasquez, 2. Nick Pivetta, 1. Xander Bogaerts, 1. Alex Verdugo, 1. Tanner Houck has 1. John Schreiber has 1. Tommy Pham has 1. And Matt Barnes has 1. So there's been 3 Red Sox relievers that have gotten 1.
Got bad memories.
Yeah, but now that Matt Barnes had the deciding vote, your Clark's Ketchup Series MVP is Rich Hill, everybody. Congratulations to Rich Hill. Becoming the second starting pitcher to be named Clark's Ketchup Series MVP during the 2022 season. Coley, are you not clapping?
There's no clapping in Charlotte.
Why not?
They say they're signs all over the airport right when you get here. They make it very clear.
You can't clap there?
No clapping.
That's wild. Do you see these pictures of Steve? He looks like a fucking idiot. What is this?
Where?
He went to...
this is the cowboy thing?
Yeah, it looks like it's the Kenny Chesney concert maybe, but he looks like a fucking asshole.
So he blended in.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like he looks like he's dressed as like fucking Woody. Is that what he did? I think that's what the plan was. It's a cross between like Woody but like Super Troopers maybe? I don't know. Looks like an idiot.
It's not even a real vest.
No.
Pretty pathetic.
Yeah, it's terrible. Coley, do you have any other thoughts on that series?
Enrique looks good.
He did.
Bring him back.
You wanna re-sign Kike?
I do want to re-sign Kike. 113 weighted runs created plus coming into today. Gold Glove defense in center field. Your outfield has no solutions, especially defensively next year. You're going to need someone in right field who can actually hit, but I would like a Gold Glove center fielder. Yes, and someone who can play a utility role if need be.
I feel like you lose Gold Glove center field status when you drop like a can of corn in the ALCS.
Oh, God, it was one bad moment. Let's out of all the things.
It lost them the game.
Yes, but we're talking about a guy who was at the top of every defensive metric in center field last year. It was a bad moment.
It was a real bad moment.
It was a bad moment. But if we're talking, if we're gonna sit here and bitch about Jarren Duran like we did every fucking episode,
we haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, well, listen, the career is over, so let's keep it moving.
You think his career is over?
I think his opportunity to be a starting caliber player here is over. But when it comes to Kike Hernandez, he was the top of almost every defensive metric. I think he's in the 76th percentile for outs above average this year, 98th percentile on outfield jump. How much did you miss that glove when he was out dealing with all these injuries? Substantially. I just think you can get him on good money. I think he fits in well. He's a good high character guy. But if we're going to talk Jarren Duran, yeah, he turns 26 next week.
So you think he's done?
He's not going to get a chance to have an everyday role going into next year.
I think he is.
How many you think they're going to have him starting in the outfield every day next year to start the year?
I don't know. I can't say that out of spring training, but I think at some point next year, you're going to see Jarren Duran starting outfielder in some capacity. Yeah, I do.
Because of an injury?
He's got no trade value. So they're not going to cut him.
No, I think just where he's at right now, we're talking about a guy, he's already shown he can swing it at AAA. It's just, and I know Alex Cora said, hey, I wanted him to focus more on OBP and all this different stuff. That's basically what he was down there before he got called up this year. He wasn't hitting homers like he was a year ago. It was, he was stealing bags and he was throwing the bunt down. And that's what we saw. That's why people were so excited in June. It's just, once again,
who was the writer that said that Jarren Duran was the best Red Sox prospect he's ever seen?
Oh, I don't even remember, but that is quite a
Was
claim.
it Joe McDonald?
It might have been.
A tough take.
He probably saw him a lot at the ATS.
Yeah.
Is that the only prospect he's ever seen? That would explain it.
People got too high. I like Jarren Duran as a prospect when he was coming up. I'll own that. But people making him a top 30 prospect in baseball was absolutely insanity.
I'm not giving up on Duran. I think people forget, he's a fucking second baseman. He's not a natural outfielder.
He's been an outfielder for 3-4 years at this point.
That's a tough line to pull. We've seen a second baseman become the best outfielder in baseball in this very same system.
That's a good point.
You can't compare anyone to Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts could play any sport and be elite at it. He's just a freak athlete. And Duran, in his defense, he's a freak athlete. He can run really fast. I think he needs to work on his mental game a little bit. I think that's going to be what unlocks his physical potential, is if he can make his mind a steel trap somehow.
I think even if you don't want to compare him to Mookie Betts, there's another former infielder that's currently our best defensive outfielder prospect, and Cedar Rafaela. He's an infielder by trade. He started playing center very recently. He doesn't seem to be struggling. Duran, ask the guys at Sox prospects, at no point were they ever high on Duran's defense. They thought his bat and his speed could play.
Yeah. Coley's 100% right on that. And I think, did his jumps get a little bit better in center field? Yes, but ultimately no one's going to look at him as a center fielder moving forward. And I don't believe the bat will be good enough to be in a corner. He looks like a prototypical guy who'll be a fourth outfielder, who can, like Tim LeCastro or something like that, who, he can steal bags. He's athletic. You throw him out there and he can give you a little bit of a spark. But if you keep him out there on an everyday basis, he's going to get exposed. And I think with Rafaela, let's fast forward a year from now, after a couple months, if the Red Sox need someone to come up and play the outfield, you're going to go get Rafaela because he's going to play Gold Glove defense in center field immediately.
He's a freak. Some of the balls that he gets to is fucking ridiculous.
And the Red Sox have told us, we believe in center and right field, you need two center fielders. So if they can go and say, hey, we need to call up Rafaela and he's going to go give us amazing defense, I think they'll lean that way a lot quickly before they lean Jarren Duran.
Yeah.
Let me float a little name out there for potential right fielder next year. Mm-hmm. Can I float a name?
Please.
Annie?
Now he'll miss about a month.
Mm-hmm.
And he's historically a shortstop for the Padres. But I wouldn't be shocked if Fernando Tatis Jr. was available for the right price.
What?
Oh, that would be interesting.
The Padres do not like him. They've made that abundantly clear.
Yeah.
And if they're trying to clear a little cap space to re-sign Juan Soto, who's already better at baseball even before all this, I'm just saying, he might be able to. They just depleted their farm system getting Juan Soto. You throw them a couple guys back, it might relieve their headache.
I want this simply to happen to watch Dan Shaughnessy have a mental breakdown. If he saw the Red Sox dealt for a dude who got popped for roids after that column he wrote about Ortiz's comments, oh my God.
I can't even think about that. Listen.
Just floating in.
I don't hate the theory.
We're just floating in. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It's you're thinking outside the box here, and that's why we love you. I think I think it'd be an excellent fit.
He was playing outfield last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he plays outfield. You can play the outfield.
He's a little outfielder.
Yeah, why not? Play a little outfield, kid. I think. I you definitely have to hammer the point home that they do not like him there.
They fucking despise him. Let's see with Manny Machado. They've made my sweet boy Fernando the enemy.
Yeah, I don't even get me thinking about that. If you get me thinking about that, yeah, we're thinking about it now, but like, whew, that'll get me all hot and bothered for a whole offseason. I wonder, can you trade a player that's suspended? Can you trade them while they're under suspension, like serving?
Oh, why not?
Because they're suspended. I don't know if you can be, if there's a rule that you can't be traded unless you're like active.
I don't know if there's a difference, really.
See, this would have been the perfect time to call the rules department.
It'd be a great time to call the rules department. I don't know. I just don't see why not. Like, you're still under contract. You're still on the 40 man. I don't know. Well, I'm sure someone's had to have been traded that had to at least miss like a game for some sort of suspension.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Did the Reds trade Chapman while he was suspended to the Yankees? I know that they knew that the suspension was coming, but I don't think he was actively serving it yet. It was kind of like in the offseason, he got handed a suspension, but because it was the offseason, he wasn't actively serving the suspension because he hadn't played a game yet or wasn't eligible to play a game yet by the time the trade went down.
I'm not sure. I can't remember that far back.
Yeah. Like Chapman was suspended in the offseason and then he was traded. So he served his suspension with the Yankees, but he was suspended as a Red.
But that would still mean he was a suspended player.
Yes.
Because Tatis can play in spring training.
Yeah. So what I'm looking at right now was he was dealt and then the suspension came in March 1st of that year. So it was December and then the suspension came in March.
Yeah.
Yeah. December 28th, 2015, he was dealt. March 1st, he got the suspension.
I mean, if the Red Sox take on the full contract, then they don't even really have to give up like, not that they have a ton of fucking great prospects, but like,
well,
the Red Sox?
Yeah, like that it's not going to cost Tristan Cassis.
Oh, right.
If they're like, hey, if you guys want to pay Fernando Tatis Jr., we'll take the $340 off your hands. Like, we'll give you, obviously, we're not just going to like take Fernando Tatis Jr., but right now he's a PR nightmare. You guys hate him. He costs a lot of money. I mean, he's not.
If Chaim can time this right too, because there was no Rule 5 draft this last year, so there's going to be a lot. Like, I feel like it's going to be a pretty active Rule 5 draft this year.
That's one of the.
You get a couple of those guys.
That's one of the problems the Red Sox have because with all these relievers, they're all Rule 5 eligible at the end of the year. A lot of them, so that's why they need to start clearing them out and giving them an opportunity, or else you're going to risk getting Whitlocked.
And even a guy like Thad Ward, who missed all of last year with Tommy John, and I believe he was banged up the year before too. And then yesterday he shoved
10 Ks,
double-digit Ks. Yeah, so it's like a guy like him, super like he would have been taken this last Rule 5 draft if it hadn't just straight up been canceled. So it's like a guy like that. Does he have some intrigue for the Padres? Maybe. We're just floating names.
When did you start thinking about this, and why didn't you text me about it first?
I don't know when I concocted this idea. It wasn't super long ago.
Okay. But you like what? Okay, that answers the first part of the question. The second part of the question: why didn't you text me about this first?
It may have been today. I'm trying to remember when I exactly started because my brain works in a way where it's like there are ideas that will obviously never happen, and then there are ideas like this that probably won't happen but are feasible. Like there is a path here where I can see this happening.
Mm-hmm.
If the Padres, if like Preller and every player on the team hadn't come out and been like, yeah, fuck that guy, I would never think this way. But the fact that they hate him this much, and they just depleted their whole farms, not their whole farm system, they still got a couple guys, but they've depleted enough of it where it's like, yeah, that actually could make sense if they're just trying to be like, you know what? We don't want the headache. We think he's too immature. And then it's a classic new change of scenery where it's like, I feel like a guy like an Ortiz, like a Manny, obviously, you don't want to immediately bring up those names, but they get in his ear and be like, hey, you just got to, maybe not Manny as much as Ortiz, but Pedro and Ortiz can be like, settle down. You like it here. You can imagine him with the monster for 81 a year. That'd be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to talk me into this idea. I love Fernando Tatis Jr. I know David does too. I know that he's a big fan. Yeah, I see the vision. But I refuse to get excited about it because it almost makes too much sense. And also, AJ Preller, he owes us one for fucking Drew Pomeranz
and Hosmer.
Well, I mean, they pick up the tab for Hosmer, but Drew Pomeranz, they like had a separate set of medicals. They were like, hey, I know that you guys are interested in Drew Pomeranz. Do you want the good medicals or do you want the bad medicals that we're going to hide from the public? And then they just gave us the fake medicals. And then the Red Sox took them and he needed stem cell and PRP injections and all that shit. And I mean, thank God Anderson Espinosa never turned out to be anything.
I was about to say, I think we gave them the bad medical, or the good medicals on Anderson Espinosa, and then they
like just made it to the big leagues with the Cubs, but
blew everything
he's
out.
Still only like 22. I'd bring him back too.
Yeah, I mean the league gave the Red Sox the opportunity to reverse that trade, and they chose not to.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they were like, we can undo this because of how much fuckery there was on the Padres side of things. So they kind of owe us. They should just give us Tatis.
Listen, we're just floating names here.
We're just floating names.
But yeah, you do that. And my only fear would be they'd do that, and then they'd be like, well, we're just going to keep him at shortstop. And then I would have to hate Fernando Tatis, which I don't want.
No, he's going in the outfield.
Yeah, he's playing right.
Yeah, I guess.
He's athletic enough.
I could see that being a catastrophe, and then it's like, fuck, we have 3 shortstops.
Listen, give me 9 short. Chaim's only drafting shortstops. We're going to have Romero. We're going to have, like, Roman Anthony's the only, and Brooks Bannon are the only guys who don't play shortstop. And I'm sure they can give it a try if they want.
Yeah.
Bob plays short.
Yeah, Bob plays short now. Shortstop Bob was a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you're not, you ain't shit unless you play shortstop for the Boston Red Sox. In some capacity.
That's a fact.
Yeah. All right. Stop and Shop, look ahead. Actually, before that, we do that. We've got a new sponsor, a late season call-up, if you will. CBD MD, the leaders in hemp-based CBD and Delta-9 THC products. These guys have everything you could possibly need to just straight up feel better. And their latest breakthrough is Delta-9 THC. These sneaky innovators found a way to get these Delta-9 THC products shipped directly to your door. Now, some restrictions may apply because, of course, they do, so check your local laws before purchasing. But I am telling you, this stuff is the real deal. They've got gummies packed with 10 milligrams of THC, perfect for winding down after watching the Sox blow yet another lead. Does 10 milligrams sound like a lot to you? CBD MD has you covered with their microdose soft gels with just 1 milligram of THC. These little guys pack a punch that's perfect for all-day support whenever and wherever you need it the most. Don't get all caught up in the technicalities. This is the same THC that you've come to know and love over the years, just extracted from hemp. And actually, my family, we went to go visit Coley in the most northern point of Maine at his compound. And on the ride back from Maine, I was like, I can't do it. So I'm gonna just pop one of these little 10 milligram bad guys. And let me tell you, made the ride home that much better, Coley.
I'm glad to hear it. I knew you were dreading it, so I'm glad it took the pain away.
Yeah, it did. Nice little 2-hour piece back to society. To learn more about Delta 9 and everything else CBD MD has to offer, just head to cbdmd.com. Once again, that is cbdmd.com for more information, education, and the best damn gummies that you've ever had. Must be 21 years or older to purchase Delta 9. All right. The Stop and Shop look ahead. We have the Minnesota Twins. Red Sox got on a bird after Family Day. They after the game today, they had all the employees, families were out there. They honored some of the people that have had many years of service as Red Sox employees. Karen, you may know her as Trixie. She's at the door, State Street Pavilion. She was at 15 years. I call him Mr. McDermott, but John McDermott, 45 fucking years of service to the Boston Red Sox. He was part of the pregame ceremony. He's awesome. Great dude. He's just always, he's there every day. He's 1,000 years old and he's just there every day. 45 years of service. Once you get to 50 years, I think only a couple of people have made it to 50. And they give you a gift whenever it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, whatever. I'm pretty sure that only one person got to 50 and they didn't know what to give him. So they were like, what do you want? And he's like, I want to fly on the team plane for one of the trips. And then they were like, well, which trip are you picking? And it was 2019. So he was like, London. So he flew on that fucking air hotel that they had. I'm like, well, that's a great pick. Yeah. So 5 more years for McDermott and hopefully, I don't know what he would pick, but 50 years, damn, that is a long time to work at the same place. The Red Sox are playing a 3-game series against the Minnesota Twins. Brian Bayo versus Dylan Bundy. Cutter Crawford versus Chris Archer, who's a baby and has had me blocked for 6 or 7 years. Michael Wacha versus Joe Ryan. The Red Sox are 2-2 against the Twins this year with a +2 run differential. The Minnesota Twins are 64-61. Dylan Bundy, 7-6, a 4.56 ERA and a 1.21 WHIP with a 6.4 strikeouts per 9. After being one of the worst pitchers in baseball in 2021, he's improved to being mediocre. His FIP is 4.34, so it's he's slightly better, but basically the same, just mediocre. He's having his best month of the season: 2-2, 2.33 ERA and a 4.34 OPS allowed. But the FIP, Tyler, 4.47 this month. Yeah. Not a big strikeout guy against the Red Sox. 3 strikeouts in his last 15 1/3, which almost seems borderline impossible. Fastball sucks. 81 it averages. He faced the Red Sox once this year back in April. 5 1/3, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, which seems odd. The Twins are 9-13 when he starts. 9-13 when he starts. Bogey, 14 for 39, 5 doubles, 3 homers. Devers, 6 for 23, couple homers. Verdugo, 3 for 5 with a homer. Chris Archer, he's a bitch. 2-7, 4.34 ERA, a 1.30 WHIP, and a 7.7 strikeouts per 9. He's having a solid season. The 4.35 FIP pretty much matches his ERA. He's got a lot of walks, 43 walks and 91 1/3 innings pitched. He's not pitched more than 5 innings this year. Not a single pitch thrown in the 6th inning. Not one. The Twins have lost 8 straight games that he started. Their last game with the last win with him pitching was June 25th. He's had 2 games this year with 6 walks, and he's only allowed 4 home runs since mid-May. His slider's been great. 183 batting average against, 296 slug, 263 weighted on base, and he throws it 44% of the time. The Twins are 7-15 when he starts. Trevor Story has a double and a homer. Devers 3 for 7, couple doubles with a 1143 OPS. Joe Ryan, 10-6, a 365 ERA, a 111 whip, and a 9 strikeouts per 9. He's been pretty good this year. He has pitched into the 5th inning in 8 straight starts. He's got some homer issues, though. 17 on the year, including 5 in one game. Jesus Christ, dude. Has multiple walks in 3 straight starts. He can be a big strikeout guy. He's got 7+ in 8 starts. He's allowed 1 earned run or less in 10 starts. Only allowed more than 3 earned runs 4 times. 289 ERA before his 1 start where he allowed 10 earned runs. That is an ass beating. He throws his 4-seam 60% of the time, but it's only 92 miles an hour, but it must move a lot because he's got a 181 batting average against and a 340 slug. He faced the Red Sox earlier this year, back in April. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 7 strikeouts, gave up a homer. The Twins are 13-8 when he starts. Hosmer, 1 for 2 with a homer. He's not back yet, right?
No, he's going to start swinging tomorrow.
Verdugo, 1 for 2 with a homer. So this is kind of like, this has like big series for Verdugo written all over it.
Yeah, just for context, for those who want to shit on Alex Verdugo, he's been the best hitter on the Red Sox dating back to June 1st with a 130 weighted runs created plus. Has a real shot to get up to 300 this year.
You know what? I'm going to start with Coley.
I don't remember who it was when we traded for Verdugo, but they said he was like probably just going to be Nick Markakis, and that feels pretty accurate. 2.5 years through his career.
That's the hit.
I like Nick Markakis.
I don't like it for whatever reason. Like when you said the Twins record, I was shocked because when I just hear the name Minnesota Twins, I think inferior opponent. Like I don't care what else is going on. They're the Minnesota Twins. Like they're not a competent baseball organization. The fact that they have a better record than us is deplorable. Yeah, it's unnatural. It shouldn't happen. It should never happen. So I'm going to say 2 out of 3.
Ooh.
Remind them who's the better franchise.
I got a sweep.
Which way?
For the Twins?
For the Red Sox.
Ah.
I got the Red Sox sweeping this series in 3 games. And I actually believe that. I think Trevor Story, they're taking it easy with him, obviously. But yeah, I think the Red Sox sweep this series. Tyler?
I'm going to go 2 out of 3. I'm feeling very positive as well. I think Brian Bayo going tomorrow. I think we're about to see Brian Bayo go on a little bit of a run. There's going to be some ups and downs, but that 736 ERA, don't buy it. The FIP's 303. The expected ERA is 325. He has a 472 BABIP. The dude has the worst fucking luck I've ever seen. So I think Brian Bayo is going to go out and shove tomorrow. And you're telling me I get Cutter Crawford, who's got his ass kicked and is kind of due for a good start. And then Michael Wacha, who's really the best thing you got left in the rotation. I think you're getting 2 of those and you don't have Austin Davis or Hirokazu Sawamura going out there and being complete arsonists. So I think fresh blood, it creates some excitement, and you're going to get Trevor Story for at least 2 games.
Jake?
This one feels like a Red Sox sweep.
Yeah, it does.
I actually believe that too.
Yeah. It smells like it too.
I'll be real. I wanted to go sweep, but I didn't have the balls to do it.
Well, I mean, not everyone has the balls to throw a sweep out there.
I just want to tip my cap to you guys.
Thank you. And we, was anyone right about the Rays series? No.
We were very negative.
What did I say? 1 out of 3?
I don't know. You might have gone sweep.
Did I?
That doesn't sound right.
No.
Definitely not.
I think I do have sweep on this one, though. Yeah, they're going to make quick work of the Minnesota Twins.
Twins have won, 3 in a row, but they lost 6 in a row before that?
Yeah. Who'd they just play?
The Giants, which is basically the NL Red Sox.
Yeah, but they suck.
Well, yeah, just going back to
We're good.
We have the same winning percentage as them.
Yeah, but we're good.
True.
We're a good 484. They're kind of like a bad 484.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Coley, you have any other final thoughts?
I mean, Dylan Bundy really does suck. You say his fastball average is 81? Is that what you said?
Who?
Dylan Bundy. Who?
Dylan
my brain
Bundy.
keeps. My brain keeps
89.1.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear the 9. I was like, that can't be correct.
Right.
And it wasn't. Yeah, no, I just don't respect the Minnesota Twins at all.
Do you respect the Seattle Mariners yet or no?
I really like the contract they gave to Julio Rodriguez. Like, that was the most competent. I like last year, my whole point was like, you were too early on that.
I was right on time.
No, they straight up didn't make the playoffs last year.
Yeah, by like a game.
Oh, okay, I didn't hang a banner. I don't know what to tell you. When they took advantage of the Reds in that Winker Suarez trade, which I believe laid the groundwork for the Luis Castillo trade, and then you see Julio Rodriguez 2 years after their owner or their GM was like, this guy's gonna fucking start speaking the English.
I forget who that was, but he was promptly fired.
Okay, so it definitely wasn't the owner then.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was president. But yeah, from then till now, they've improved so much. If Kalenic can ever be
Kelnick.
No. If we could, do you think there's is that someone we could trade Duran for? Are they that low on?
He's like rich
Kalenic?
man's Jarren Duran.
Right.
Only because of what it cost to get him.
Cano?
Wasn't he was in the Cano?
Yeah.
Edwin Diaz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we give them Duran and Caleb Orr for Kalenic.
Kalenic.
That's the deal, right?
Get
there.
it done.
Because he crushes the Yankees.
Yeah, he does.
So yeah, I think that's the move we're looking at. But yeah, I respect them. That deal had to infuriate the Braves, being fuck, someone did it on a noble move instead of just trying to take advantage of their own players.
Mm-hmm.
That's the craziest contract I've ever seen. I love it so much. So yeah, if the Mariners are going to start being that level of competent, I respect them. So they're in a playoff spot right now, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll see if that holds. I have no reason to believe it won't. Because Julio Rodriguez is that guy. He is that good and was not part of the solution last year, which was why I wasn't as high on them yet.
Mm.
Now he's there. Here we are. So yeah, I respect the Mariners. I do not, under any circumstances, respect the Minnesota Twins.
That's fair. I mean, the Minnesota Twins have not won a playoff game since I was a sophomore in high school.
Correct.
And me and Cole, were you class of 07, Coley?
Yeah.
Yeah. Coley has 2 kids and he's married. Have not won a game since he was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I believe they went up 1-0 in that series, and then game 2 went to extras, and they lost, and they just haven't come particularly close since.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, don't respect them. It's a tough scene.
Very
And
tough.
now they're going to sweep us, and it's going to be like, oh, this is your fault. No, it's not my fault. Our team also stinks this year. Historically, nowhere near as bad as the Twins.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the thing. They're in a terrible division. They get to the playoffs every year. Like they're the reverse Mariners in a lot of ways. Like they're a similar level of incompetent, but because of the divisions they're in, like if the Mariners had been in the AL Central all these years, they'd be in the playoffs every fucking year too.
Just respect the Mariners. That's all I ask of you, Coley. Just respect the Seattle Mariners.
See, respect's a strong word.
You just said you fucking respect them. You just
I
said that.
acknowledge them.
No, you said you respect them.
I respect what they're building. Like they're making smarter moves than they've historically made.
And they're in a playoff spot.
They are in a playoff spot.
Do they have to make the playoffs for you to respect them?
Definitely.
Okay. That's fair. That's a fair claim.
They wasted they wasted one of the best starting pitchers' careers I've ever seen in my life.
Felix Hernandez?
They wasted a whole career. Yeah, Felix Hernandez.
We love Felix Hernandez.
Last perfect game.
Literally every second of his career was wasted.
Literally every second of his career.
At no point did he even that one like random month he played for the Braves. They weren't even serious then. So at no point of his career was he on part of a serious organization.
I feel bad for him. I mean, he won a Cy Young, so that counts for something.
And he should have probably won more, but no one respects the Mariners, so they were like, "Yeah, we just can't do it now."
Well, at least you respect.
Well, they won 116 and 0-1.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Promptly bounced in the first round.
Correct.
Like, what are we talking about?
This year is different.
They've been saying that for a lot of years.
Are they going to win the World Series?
They could get there. I don't see how anyone's going to beat the Dodgers. They're just too fucking good. Like I've been sitting. It's not like a revelation or anything, but like I've been waiting to say that for a long time. Like why are we even playing the season? Like the Dodgers are going to throttle whoever they play in the World Series.
I respect the Dodgers more than like the likes of the Mariners and the Twins, obviously, but they still really haven't won anything. They won the COVID title, and that's it.
So I still think that the COVID title counts because the Padres, like they played the Padres, the Braves, and the
Rays.
The Rays, yeah. So they really didn't like play anyone that they shouldn't have. Like if they had played like the fucking Marlins in the division series, it's like, all right.
Whoa.
The Marlins, I'm happy for the Marlins that they made the playoffs that year, but like, come on.
That's the only time the Marlins have made the playoffs and not won the World Series in their organization's history.
So they should be saying that year doesn't count.
That's what I'm saying. If you beat the Marlins in the playoffs, it's likely a fraudulent playoffs.
Yeah, but they still went through everyone that they needed to make it a legit title.
I don't know that. Beaten. Like, I was thinking about the Phillies title the other day. Like, I don't know if that counts.
No, that doesn't because they didn't go through the Red Sox.
Oof.
Right. Like, they beat the Rays the first year they were the Rays. Like, they were the Devil Rays the year prior. They were relevant. They changed their name. Boom, World Series. I don't know if that counts.
I agree. I was actually just talking about that today, the 08 title. I was like, some of the Red Sox front office people think that the 09 team was like legit. I was like, that team stunk.
Spare me.
Yeah, they're like, that 09 team was something else. I was like, that team fucking blew. They got dusted by the Angels. Like, the Angels used to be a first round bye.
Right.
The 09 team. They backed in.
Yeah, I don't. I don't have anything positive to say about the 09 team.
No. Like, the only thing I remember about the 09 team is that the Angels just bounced their ass and that they backed in. And everyone was like, oh, like, shouldn't they? Like, isn't it like a bad omen that they backed in and they didn't win to get into the playoffs? Like, everyone knew that they were going to win the wild card anyway, but they backed in. And then they just promptly got absolutely throttled. I think it was fucking... didn't Vladdy have the dagger against Papelbon?
I think so.
Yeah.
I will say that 2008 Red Sox team, you can argue that it may have been a more talented team than the 07 team. I don't hate that argument.
You could make that case. I think you can make that case, yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't go handing. My bigger point is I wouldn't go handing the trophy to the Dodgers yet. There's some, what are they, like 50 and 12 over their last 62 or something stupid like that?
I saw somewhere like last week that they have the best 160, like dating back to last year, have the best 162 game winning percentage in like baseball history or something.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they don't lose ever.
And now Mookie's homering every single night.
Yeah.
Did you see? I can't remember who put it out. Someone put out a graph. I think it was either 3 extra base hit games or just games with multiple extra base hits. Like career games of which they had that, and then the x-axis was career games played.
Mm-hmm.
And Mookie Betts not only has the most of those games, but he's done it in the shortest amount of time as well. Mm-hmm. It's like Bonds, it took like an extra like 2,000 games to also have less.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, no one's ever traded that guy. What a mistake that would be.
Never.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the Red Sox would do the Bukkake come on his face celebrate? Is that why he wanted to leave?
I think that's why he wanted out of here. They were like, they won't come on me.
That's what this team needs.
Yeah.
If there was someone in the dugout willing to go through with that, this would feel like a much more lovable Red Sox team.
I mean, I said it the second he got there. I was like, someone's going to come on this guy. And it just didn't happen. It didn't happen. And maybe that's on us. You know, maybe that's on Andrew Benintendi and Jackie Bradley. I don't know. Maybe it's on Chris Young. But someone should have came on Mookie.
We should have just traded for Reese McGuire years ago.
Yeah. That could have kept him here.
Maybe that's the plan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe Mookie's coming back. Maybe we don't need Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah. I don't know. But it just seems like he's having a lot of fun there, and I try not to think about it. I try not to think about how much fun he's having.
Hard to not. It's every night. Like Tyler just said, it's every night he hits another home run or throws someone out at home.
Just for context, in this last series, he got 0.8 F4 in a series, a single series. He almost had an entire win worth of WAR.
Why isn't he in the MVP discussion? Like I understand. I think Goldschmidt already kind of has it won.
Yeah.
But even today, I saw. I think it was Baseball Tonight. It was talking about Goldschmidt, Arenado, Freeman, and Riley. And it was like, yeah, I understand 3 of those names. Freeman's having a great year, sure. I don't know that he's better than Mookie Betts.
I don't know. How close are they, Tyler?
I definitely would put Paul Goldschmidt in the number 1 spot. Like, we're talking Triple Crown.
Yeah, I agree.
If he can just catch up to Schwarber, what are they 4 home runs apart right now, or whatever it is?
I'm saying, like, how far apart are they in F4 right now?
Mookie and Freeman?
No, Mookie and Goldschmidt.
Let's look. I think Mookie's at 6.2.
The fact that he's almost like a 7-win player right now.
Insanity.
Goldschmidt's at 6.9. Mookie's at 6.
That's pretty incredible considering Paul Goldschmidt plays first base.
Yeah. Nolan Arenado, 6.8. That's all right. Jake, write this down. Write this down. Tomorrow on Baseball is Dead, I'm fucking bringing up Nolan Arenado's MVP case because for as great as Paul Goldschmidt has been, he's at 6.9 F4. Nolan's at 6.8. The fuck? Nolan should win it, and he's going to. No one's talking about Nolan. It's crazy.
Listen, have you brought up the AL MVP race like I told you to, or no?
What did you say about that?
I said the good argument, the correct argument, Tyler may explode. Judge isn't even top 2.
Wow. Talk to me.
Shohei's won.
Yep.
Like comfortably. I don't know why it's a debate. If Shohei, I think this is where you have to take the argument now. If Shohei were on the Yankees and Judge were on the Angels, who would Yankee fans say is MVP?
That's true.
They for sure wouldn't say Judge. No. It wouldn't even come up. They'd call him glorified Adam Dunn, is what they would call him. But Verlander won an MVP about a decade ago at this fucking point that he shouldn't have. This is the actual year he should be in that conversation.
He ended up getting hurt today, didn't he?
Yeah, he came out at like 60 pitches.
Calf, right?
He's fine.
I do think if you want to argue Shohei, I think it's like a perception thing. Like, I can't argue anyone that wants to tell me they believe Shohei Ohtani should be the MVP. Like, if you're dominating on both sides of the ball, I feel like that's almost something that like we can't even calculate properly. Like, I don't even think metrics are there. Like, that's something that is to be able to do both and be able to contribute to a pitching staff. And he's dominating. He's pitching better than he ever has in his entire, MLB career. How do you compete with that? Obviously, Judge is having a freakish all-time offensive season, about to get to 50 jacks. But if you're going to argue Shohei Ohtani, like, I have a hard time arguing. That's a hard conversation.
I don't even know that. Like, my whole thing is I keep hearing people say Judge is having this historic season. He's having like mediocre Sammy Sosa season. Like, that's what Judge is having. Sammy Sosa did what Aaron Judge is doing right now 4 times in 5 years. That's exactly what happened. And people will say, "Oh, Sammy Sosa was juicing." Yeah, if you took the juice out of Sammy Sosa and put it in the baseball, like Aaron Judge has the luxury of having, same thing. It would be the exact same story. So I don't want to hear it.
I mean, Aaron Judge has 8 F4.
I was just about to say, like, holy crap! I didn't even realize it was that high.
He's a full run better than the next best player, which is Paul Goldschmidt.
He's having a very, 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 very good season. Historic is where I draw the line. I can't call it historic. He's done nothing historic at this point.
He's on pace to.
No, he's not.
For the American League record?
Oh my God, that's what I'm talking. Like, the American League record? That's not even the thing. There's a Major League record. American League record means shit.
That's not true.
Are we going to do the non-steroid record?
I'm not.
I mean, Barry never tested positive.
That's also true. And also, imagine if Barry Bonds did test positive and also got to use these new baseballs. He would hit 90.
Yeah.
Ohtani's at 6.7 F4, FYI.
And that's when I throw that stat out the goddamn window. Yeah. Because what are they talking about?
I feel that's something that hasn't, like, we don't even know how to measure Ohtani. People can't even appreciate him, like, correctly in this era. Like, to be able to do what he does on both sides of the ball, it's just a different level. It's just, you can't, you're elite on both sides.
25 years from now, they're going to look and they're going to be like, people are going to go on his baseball reference page and they're going to be like, oh, he hit 40 home runs and had like a 890 OPS. And then they're going to scroll down a little. They're going to be like, wait, he also pitched and he had 2.5 ERA with 200 strikeouts and he didn't win MVP. Like, it's going to look really fucking stupid looking back at this year. It's the same people who argue Trout should have won MVP over Miguel Cabrera the year he won Triple Crown have now somehow flipped to the other side of this, which I just don't. To me, it seems like the very same argument. Like, what Miguel Cabrera did was historic. That's why he got the nod over Trout. And Trout, I know, had like the higher WAR and all of those advanced stats went in his favor right in that year. And this year, it's like the historic thing that's happening is, and what I try and tell Yankee fans is like, if you took Garrett Cole, made him a better pitcher, and then you took Giancarlo Stanton, made him a better hitter, and then you made them the same person, that's Shohei Ohtani this year. So I don't understand how there's even, like, everyone in the world would agree, like, oh yeah, if Garrett Cole and Giancarlo Stanton were the same person and also both better at what they get paid to do, yeah, that's obviously the MVP. It's not even a discussion. But apparently this year it's the most home runs award. That's what MVP stands for. If you hit the most home runs, you get the award.
I will also throw this out there. Last year when Ohtani won it, he had 8 WAR on the entire season. He has that on August 28th this year. So we're talking he's going to pass those numbers from a year ago. Last year, he threw 130 innings. He's already at 128 this season.
Did he hit 200 Ks last year? I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either. He ended up getting to... Hold on. Let's get this up. Fangraphs, work with me, please. He got to 189 last year.
Yeah, and I think he's at like 177 now or something like that.
You'd be surprised, Coley, 127. That kind of caught me too.
He's at what?
He's at 127 this year.
At the plate?
Yes. Thank you, Coley.
Oh, I was talking about on the mound.
No, I know. I was too, and then I realized I was on the wrong tab. I was almost about to have a mental break.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
I was like, what the hell? This makes no actual sense. Okay.
He has 10 10K games, and that leads the American League. Cole's second, I think he has 7 of such. So it's like, he's the best. He's not the best pitcher in the American League, but he's fucking close. Like, he should be top 5 Cy Young, probably.
Yeah.
Behind Verlander. And
yeah, you look
so it's like he's going to finish top. If you're going to be top 5 Cy Young and top 5 MVP, that probably means you're the MVP. That's just me.
156 Ks last year in 130 innings, 176 and 128 this year.
Yeah, I mean, his ERA, I believe his ERA is almost a run lower this year. I think he was in the 3s last year. I know he's like 2.7 right now.
Yeah, it was low 3s this year. It's mid 2s.
Yeah, so it's like he's gotten better. He's not going to hit as many. He still could hit 40. Like, if he's going to hit 40 home runs, even if it's 35, because I think he's at 27 of those now.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's going to hit 35 plus and then have a mid-2 ERA over 25 starts and lead the league in 10 strikeout games, like, to me, that's the most valuable player. Other people disagree. And the narrative, it's clearly already in, like, I think Judge won this award 3 months ago. I saw someone yesterday being like, he might hit 70 home runs. Like, Ohtani might hit 70 home runs if we're going to do ifs and maybes. Like, he'll have enough at-bats to do it, but he's not. Jared, what's he on pace for? 62?
64.
What did he get 2 today? He was at 63 the other day when he tweeted it.
The last time when he hit 49, he was on pace for 64.
Oh, I thought you said 63.
Mm-mm.
Did he homer today?
No.
So that has to have gone down.
Definitely.
He didn't do anything yesterday when I fucking got 1 hit by the A's in 11 innings.
Yeah.
Just makes you think.
Just makes you think. I mean, are you going to feel this way when he's on the Red Sox next year, Coley?
I'm going to be so mad when he's on the Red Sox shirt. It's not even going to be funny.
He's going to play
great.
every single position.
Ohtani?
Yeah. We're not going to have any. We're going to have nothing. It'll just be him.
No, if we trade for Ohtani, I'll be thrilled. When we sign Judge, I'm going to be furious.
Yeah. I'm good. Run the price up, though. Let's invite him to dinner here.
He's going to the Mets. But if he doesn't, he's probably coming to the Red Sox.
Makes me sick.
And on that note, my Applebee's is here.
Be better.
I'm very hungry. You be better.
I wouldn't order something like Applebee's.
Tyler above Applebee's Milliken.
Yeah,
Is
listen,
that your fucking name?
I would go for
That's
some
what they
real
call it.
cuisine.
What do you have? What did you have for fucking dinner? Caviar?
I had the 99.
What did you have?
I had the 99, a real fucking restaurant, a respectable
Yeah, 99's
restaurant.
amazing. I don't think that they have one around here.
Oh, grow up, move somewhere
no.
else.
Yeah, they keep fucking closing them all.
Well, they just
Applebee's
opened
still
another
going
one.
strong though. Just saying.
Fuck Applebee's.
I haven't heard an Applebee's close down. Jake, you ever heard of an Applebee's closing in your neighborhood area?
No, I think they're all still open.
Fuck
They're
off.
all open, dude.
I don't even know where I'd find an Applebee's. But I know where I'd
Open
find a
up your
99.
Fucking eyes.
There's not a single person picking Applebee's over the 99 restaurant. And if you are, don't fucking talk to me.
I'm not. Hey, listen. Don't disrespect Applebee's like that. Applebee's
Jared
is a
Carrabis,
fine-
Applebee's is better than the 99. You're hearing
I
that.
didn't say that.
Everybody
I
is
love
fucking
that.
hearing
Hey,
that.
whoa,
That's
whoa,
what I'm
whoa,
hearing.
Whoa.
Don't backtrack here. You said it.
Whoa.
You said it loud and clear.
Whoa. I love them both.
We all know
I
you
love them
can't
both.
love two things the same amount. That's physics.
Pick a side.
Here's what pisses me off about 99. They got rid of their chicken broccoli and ziti like 6 years ago. And ever since then, I've been like, what the fuck? Like, they had the best chicken broccoli and ziti I've ever had in my life. And then they were just like, yeah, it's seasonal. Like, no, it's not. I'll eat that shit all the fucking time.
You know what's not?
It's not a winter meal. Like, fucking beef stew is a winter meal. Chicken broccoli and ziti, you can have that every day. And they took it off the menu. So if you work at the 99 or you fucking know anyone who does, tell them that. Be like, you're a fucking idiot. Put chicken broccoli and ziti back on your menu, and then I'll pick the 99.
You know what's not seasonal?
What?
Those buff tenders. Those buff tenders are
Yeah.
there. Low, high, wherever
Gold
you are in
fever
life,
wings.
they've always
Yeah.
been there for me. And that's why I'll take
Yeah.
the 99 over Applebee's and Chili's for those other
Don't
clowns.
say it like that.
I'm sorry.
Don't say it like that.
I'm gonna.
It's a great restaurant. They're both great restaurants. They have a lot of pros and cons.
I don't know any cons at the 99.
They don't have fucking chicken broccoli and ziti.
You're the
They
only
don't have
person
mozzarella
crying
sticks.
about
They don't
that.
have mozzarella
Have you ever heard
sticks.
of a mozzarella moon?
Coley just hung up on you.
Whatever. I don't care. Have you ever heard of a mozzarella moon?
Yeah, they're not.
They're better
not
than
sticks.
mozzarella sticks.
They're
They
not
have
sticks.
more-
They're not sticks. They're not sticks.
Fuck
They're not
sticks. Wrap this up. I'm done. I can't do this shit. This is the last one.
You're quitting
What's
the show?
today? 42?
Yeah.
This retire 42. Mariano Rivera. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird that this is that number episode,
Mm-hmm.
but this is the end. This is
You're quitting.
I'm done.
This is it.
Yeah, 99 hit me. I'm looking for a new job. I'm looking for a sponsorship. So
Mhm.
let's cook, baby.
All right. Good luck in your future endeavors. We appreciate your contributions to the first 42 episodes, and we wish you luck.
Fuck Applebee's.
Buenas noches, amigos.